If everyone would take their seats, we do have some seats up front if you're still looking for, and there's some seats on the side. So it is 2 o'clock, right at the 2 o'clock hour, and I see people still coming in. And so I will talk slowly to give people an opportunity to come in, knowing that people will continue to come in. I'm giving people a few more extra minutes to come in and get settled. Can you, okay. And we are on the air. So welcome everybody to the first meeting of the Laguna Woods City Council for 2026. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And so, members of the public wishing to address the City Council on items appearing on the agenda are advised to indicate their interest in doing so by submitting a speaker card to the city staff or proceeding to the podium on a one-by-one basis at the time an item is considered. Members of the public wishing to address City Council on items not appearing on the agenda may do so during item 5. Each speaker will have the opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes once per agenda item, unless otherwise allowed by the City Council. To ensure each speaker is provided an uninterrupted opportunity to speak for the full time allotted, members of the City Council and city staff are asked to reserve any responses they wish to make to public comments until after each speaker has completed their comments. Speakers are requested but not required to identify themselves both on any speaker card or comments testimony. Speakers are advised that their names and any information submitted on speaker cards or otherwise provided in writing to the city may be disclosed or become matter of public record. No speaker should expect privacy of such information. May we have the roll call, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Connors. Councilmember Horn. Councilmember Moore. Present. Mayor Pro Tem Lee.
Present.
And Mayor McCary.
Here.
Thank you.
And I recognize people are still coming in. So we will have Councilwoman Horn lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able to, please rise. And while we're getting ready, if you have your cell phones on, please take an opportunity to silence your cell phones. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so we'll just allow an additional moment for people that are waiting to come in. The city staff are getting some additional seating. And I did already. I did. So the next item on the agenda is presentation of ceremonial matters. We do have, we are recommending a moment of silence for the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is January 27th, 2026. Do we have members in the audience that would like to speak on this item? Yes, please walk up to the podium.
Well, I expected to speak actually after presenting remembrance. Okay. I prepared to speak after actually addressing remembrance of the Holocaust
We are honoring a moment of silence.
by the silence.
So-
So maybe we do it first, the silence, and then I speak?
No, we'd like for you to speak, and then, because after you speak, someone else will speak, and then after everybody's done talking, we will have a moment of
All right,
silence.
all right. Dear council members, thank you for remembering the victims of the Holocaust and for showing them the respect they deserve. This tragedy began in Germany nearly 90 years ago and lasted for almost a decade, leaving an indelible mark on humanity. Most Holocaust survivors are no longer with us. Those who remain are close to 100 years old, and their voices are becoming fewer and weaker. At the same time, the need to remember and speak about the Holocaust is more urgent than ever. We see and feel anti-Semitism rising around the world and here in America, reaching levels not seen in generations. I grew up hearing the stories of my mother, a Holocaust survivor. She was among the fortunate ones. Together with her mother and sister, she managed to flee during the evacuation from Nazi-occupied Belarus. They lost their home and endured hunger and humiliation in a remote village in Tatarstan, but they survived, unlike the 6 million Jews who were murdered. For many years, I believed that such cruelty could never happen again in our civilized world. Today, I know that it's still possible. Preventing it requires the strong and visible support of good and brave people like you. Thank you for your leadership and for standing on the right side of history.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter?
Good afternoon, and my name is Alana Silberberg, and my father, Sam Silberberg, is a 96-year-old Holocaust survivor. So this happens to be actually the anniversary of when my father, who was on the death march, in the annals of history, thousands were on that death march and only 800, I think it was 4,500 on the death march, only 800 survived. My father, by the grace of God, was one of them. And this is the anniversary of when he was able to somehow get off the death march and survive. So we're grateful to you to honor and revere, and for such a time as this is what's going on in our world. We never thought that we would be seeing what we're seeing today, which is not only such division and anti-Semitism and really Jew hatred, to be very clear about it. But we're also seeing Holocaust denial, trying to minimize how many people were actually killed, and justifying certain things. And we're even actually seeing division in the church about whether or not the Jews are the chosen people. That's how far this has gotten. So we're grateful to you. My father and I at this time still lecture. He wrote a book called From Hell to the Promised Land. We go to schools, community centers, churches, town halls, all over the place, because it's such an important message. So we're just so grateful that you're honoring survivors, you're honoring people who have perished, and you're taking a moment of silence for all of them. So thank you, and God bless you.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Please come to the podium.
I would like to remind everybody of the words of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist, medical doctor psychiatrist who survived Auschwitz, and his word to us was, specifically to the United States, where you have liberty, you must have responsibility. And I'd like to congratulate all the people here who are participating and taking responsibility in our local government and ask you to remember that phrase. Where you have liberty, you must have responsibility.
Anyone else in the audience? Please.
Annie, can I see?
Hang on.
I just want them.
Wait till
I want to see the gentleman. I want to see the 94-year-old gentleman. Is she there? Is her father there?
Good afternoon, Mayor and the members of the Laguna Woods City Council. My name is Dahlia Bromberg, and my mother has lived in this community for over 14 years, and I'm active in the community with the members and her neighbors, and I thank you for recognizing International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and your acknowledgement matters. This is personal for me, on both sides of our families. We've lost people in the Holocaust, as right now we've also lost in Israel, through soldiers, through the Nova Festival, and other ways. So my mother, sorry, I'm out of breath here. So in remembering the 6 million lives murdered in the Holocaust, they are people. They're not just numbers. It's not a number. And we honor these survivors and their voices because right now, as you know, the numbers are dwindling of these survivors. I've met with many. I've recorded many of their histories. And in our own community, we have many, not Laguna Woods community necessarily, but Orange County, we have many survivors who are part of our community today. And it's important that we let our youth hear them while we can, so it's not just on a video screen. And it's important that we remember their stories, as we've just seen with October 7th. We cannot let this continue to happen. And now we're witnessing in Iran. So as I mentioned, I've lost family on both sides, and recently, I've always known my mom lost a sister in France who was young, and my son was able to find the information through the archives in Yad Vashem. And so we now have the information of her sister. They're from Morocco, but coming through, she had gone to France, and in France too, the Holocaust did take lives. And so we have that information. So in closing, at a time like this where in America and in Orange County we have rising anti-Semitism taking a hold on us, it's moments like these that are so powerful that enable us to come together and find a way to find the light and work against all this hatred that has come upon us and is encroaching. So thank you again, Laguna Woods and the City Council, and I appreciate I was here last year on another account speaking, and this is I've only did this last year and now, so I'm new at this, speaking publicly, but it is that important, and
Excuse me, your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak?
My name is David Cohen. I am involved and I'm a charter member at the Holocaust Memorial Museum on Raoul Wallenberg Place. I'm a charter member in the New York one. First of all, there were 6 million Jews killed, but there were about 15 million people that were executed in the same way. You know, there's an expression, if you do not heed the lessons of history, you're doomed to repeat it. We're repeating it right now. There are 15 million Jews in the world. Population of 7 billion and 15 million. And we are Jews. We're not Hungarian, we're not Irish, we're not Polish, we're not Spanish. We're a religion. And the hate is becoming paramount. And the last thing I'll say is remembrance is terrific, but we don't need remembrance. I've been to Dachau, I've been to Auschwitz. We need action. Saying we have remembrance is wringing your hands. Saying being active is raising your hands. And California has had quite a number of anti-Semitic events. And I think it's about time that when we add the concept of remembrance, we should also put in action as well to stop this. We are a religion and we're not a race. Thank you very much.
Do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? I don't see anyone else in the audience. Council members would like to speak on this? I'll start on this end.
I wanted to ask the first speaker, did you bring your father with you? Yes. Can he come front? I think he deserves a round of applause. And congratulations that you were able to bring your father and he can share his personal experience with us. Please stand. Yes, he's a 94 years old, 96 years old Holocaust survivor. Okay, can he stand up so we can give him a round of applause? Oh, is he? Okay.
Acknowledge him where he is.
Yes. I wanted to. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes, and he doesn't
Thank you
have to
so
speak
much.
if he doesn't want to.
Yes.
Did you want to say anything, Dad, at all?
Okay.
All I can say is a few words.
Oh, he would like to say a few words.
I survived the death march, and I had the honor and privilege of fighting in the War of Independence of the State of Israel. Now I am a citizen of the United States, and I am proud to be part of your community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And any other councilman?
Yes, both sides of my family were also affected. My father-in-law fought with the partisans against the Germans, and my mother-in-law escaped from the Warsaw ghetto. And I just want to thank all of you for the thoughtful, kind comments that you've made. I agree with all of you. I am saddened by what's happening now, but I share your feelings. Thank you.
What, did you have anything else to say, Pearl? No? Did you have anything? Okay.
I was struck by the first speaker who said, it is still possible. And a number of other people have pointed out that what's going on in the world today shows us that it is still possible. I also am appreciative of Mr. Cohen's comment that taking a position and having some remembrance is all well and good, but we need action. And there are opportunities for each of us as we go through our life to stand up for the other and to protect the marginalized and to speak out against injustice. And here at the City Council, we make a statement, we enact a proclamation, we give some publicity to the cause, but it is important to go that one step farther. I am reminded of the poem written by the German pastor Martin Niemöller that starts out, first they came for the socialists, and I did nothing because I am not a socialist. And it's incumbent on all of us to do what we can to prevent the othering of people and to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. And so I hope that as part of what goes out from this gathering today, people will be inspired to take those kinds of steps. Thank you.
Thank you. I too appreciate the people who showed up today to speak to this matter because it is serious. The play that's occurring right now in Laguna Playhouse is about Eisenhower. And Eisenhower, I don't know how many of you know the story, that after the death camps were discovered by the Allies, they'd heard about them, but they actually saw them. He forced the villagers to go to the death camp and see, so they could never say, we didn't know, it wasn't true. And you thought, well, that would take care of it. But then it was hard to believe there was actually a lawsuit, probably maybe 15 years ago, by somebody who said it was not true. And you think, how could we, in this short period of time, lose fact of what kinds of things occurred? And yet that was true, that we do have to go over this again. You think, well, will we always have to do that? I think we will, because if you forget this or deny it, then all that went before is gone, and we're starting all over from scratch. So we do have to remind ourselves this truly did happen. These events were true. We have someone who was here, who experienced it, and those numbers are fading, so we better make sure that we're continuing to state what occurred and make sure that we're mindful of those events. Thank you so much for those people who understand the importance of this.
And then finally, I'll just add my thoughts and deep appreciation for the people who showed up in support of this event. I'm really proud of our city and the opportunity that we take to honor the amazing events of the Holocaust, and also to remember as we can in a way that honors the event by honoring that moment of silence. So I appreciate everyone here. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the council. And if there are no other comments, we will commence on a moment of silence. No. So however way you honor this moment of silence. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who offered comments on this item. The next item we come to is public comments on non-agenda items. About public comments on non-agenda item, this is a time and place for members of the public to address the City Council on items not appearing on this agenda. As a reminder, each person will have the opportunity to speak once for up to 3 minutes unless otherwise allowed by the council. To ensure each speaker is provided with an uninterrupted opportunity to speak, for the full time allotted, members of the City Council and city staff are asked to reserve any responses they wish to make to public comments until after each speaker has completed their comments. Please note that pursuant to the state law, the City Council is unable to take action on items not appearing on this agenda, but may ask clarifying questions of the speaker, engage in brief discussions, refer items to the city staff, and or schedule items for consideration for future meetings. And so do we have So before we begin public comments, I want to say that I know a lot of you are here, and I appreciate you being here, and I know why you're here. And so I want to say that I appreciate you. and your willingness to speak on the aggressive coyote activity that Laguna Woods is experiencing. I also want to say that each of us on the City Council lives in this community, walk in this community, and share your desire to end the aggressive behavior that has resulted in dogs being attacked and killed by coyotes, and residents being injured in the process. We all deserve to be safe, to feel safe in this community. The same is true for our pets. For roughly 15 years, since 2011, the City of Laguna Woods has engaged in coyote abatement to disrupt the periodic uptick in aggressive coyote activity that are endemic to the wilderness adjacent areas. Abatement is not taken lightly and over the years has played a key role in keeping residents and their pets safe. Since July 29, the city has removed 14 coyotes from Laguna Woods with the assistance of a contract hunter. These efforts are continuing and will continue until a more typical pattern of peaceful coexistence is restored. The city is also adding trapping to our abatement program with the goal of it acting as a force multiplier on top of our hunting efforts. The city has trapped in the past and, like hunting, does so safely in accordance with all applicable laws. I also want to acknowledge that we are aware of concerns regarding the presence of dens and vegetations that may be providing habitat for coyotes. While Laguna Woods Village is private property and the city cannot remove their privately owned landscaping, we do have a working relationship with Golden Rain Foundation and the housing mutuals. Just last week, our city manager, code enforcement officers, and Laguna Beach Animal Control staff inspected Aliso Creek and a portion of Gate 14 to identify opportunities for habitat modification. We will continue to do that and make recommendations to the boards. If anyone knows of den or problematic vegetation in which coyotes are lurking, please make reports to resident services. If you would like to copy the city on these reports, we will do our best to follow up. And finally, I want to share ways in which the sighting information residents leave on the non-emergency coyote hotline translates into action. Sightings are used to identify hotspots, and that information is relayed to our abatement contractor to assist in their efforts. The more information they have, the more effective they can be. Our landscape inspectors are also targeted based on sightings. Laguna Woods Village Security has agreed to join Laguna Beach Animal Services in hazing coyotes using paintball guns loaded with water pellets. This effort will benefit from reported sightings and increase the number of coyotes being actively hazed out of the area. Thank you again for being here today, and we will begin to hear your comments. So again, please be mindful that each speaker will have 3 minutes to make your comments. So the first speaker we have is Frank. And I said to Frank that I would respect your last name by trying not to pronounce it. There are lots.
You can stay seated if you wish.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the council. I'm sorry. What we're allowing here in our community is premeditated murder. The coyotes aren't killing our dogs, they're murdering our dogs, and they're eating them. This can't go on. 14 years ago, we had the same problem, but not as bad as it was now. We hired a bounty hunter to come in and kill coyotes. That's what we need to do now. We need to kill the coyotes. I'm not talking about killing every coyote that's in our area, But we need to kill the coyotes that are teaching, these are the older coyotes that are teaching the younger coyotes not to be scared of us. And your sticks and your foghorns and your collars for the dogs ain't gonna help you. The only safe place for your dog is in your arms. These coyotes are predators, and they are not protected by county rules and county regulations. You can kill the coyotes, but we surely are not going to issue guns to seniors to shoot each other. I cannot express the emptiness and the sadness that my wife and I are experiencing. We had Chica for 15 years and she was part of the family. This is murder. This is like if somebody came in and killed your wife, your husband, or your siblings. This cannot continue. No matter how much we complain, how much we have these ridiculous meetings where people come up and tell us their sad stories, because we all have a sad, sad story. I am fed up with it. My wife, Judy Oberman, we are devastated by the emptiness in our house. This can't continue. These meetings we have, for what? What are we having these meetings for? They tell us they get rid of the coyotes, and we see them every day. We need to get the majority of the older coyotes who are teaching the younger coyotes not to be scared of us. Who's scared of you? Notice that mostly females here. These coyotes are predators. They're smart. They target females and invalids like me. This coyote that got Chica, we are very, very diligent, observing. This coyote within a second had her, took her, and I was on the floor. I was knocked over, my wife, we were taken to the emergency room. But no, you never mentioned anything about us, how we're being affected, how we're being hurt, how we're being taken to the emergency room.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Our next speaker is Diane DeRay. Diane?
I have a little dog, Lucy. She's very small. I took her across right outside to do her thing. 2 big coyotes came at us. If my neighbor hadn't been upstairs on the second balcony making noise, and if I hadn't had fast reaction time, and thank God I did not have a stick in my hand, because that would have taken the precious moments. They work fast. They go fast. So you need to do what I learned from Animal Services a long time ago. Grab them up, hold them close to you, and then yell and scream your head off and go inside. You don't have time, like this gentleman said, for the sticks and the air horns. It happens fast. Now, the other time was in daylight with one trailing. Anyway, the important thing is how to protect ourselves, and that's it, is you need to not mess around. I've lived here for 15 years. We've had about 10, Lucy and I have had about 10 coyote encounters. I haven't let fear take over me because I knew I can't do that and protect my dog. But what is happening now is just like this gentleman said too, this is a new breed of coyotes. The 2 that came after us when I took her across from us, I had to do 2 rounds of yelling at them. 2 rounds, and they still hesitated, but they finally left on the second round. This is a whole different breed of coyotes. This is not the same ball game at all that we used to have. I mean, I could handle them before. I thank God was able to handle them then. I have a fast reaction time. When the one was trailing behind us in the morning, I was able to pick her up and grab her. That is so important. Maybe for people who are fearful, they should even drill, practice at home, but don't bother with the stick. Your dog is Lucy would be dead now. Without a doubt, she would be dead if I had been fumbling with a stick. I just want to say one other thing is that it's not just what happens to me. I mean, yes, I'm traumatized, et cetera, but my dog, it's killing me to see what it's done to her. It's killing me. The anxiety that I go to pet her on the couch now, and if she doesn't just see me coming, if I just pet her, she goes like this. When I go out the door at nighttime, she takes a couple of steps and then wants to, so I try not to go out at dark, but, and everything, of course, but if I were to step outside, the first time or something, she would take, after the attack, she took 2 steps back. And now I just have to be very careful. She just paused and wouldn't go. And so, anyway, she does that at the daytime if no one else is with me, like if I'm by myself. Now she's even doing it in the daytime because she was attacked at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mr. Ray.
And it's killing me to
Ms.
see what
DeRay,
it's
I do
doing to my little
apologize.
dog.
Your time is up. We have to make time for other speakers.
What time?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I ran off without my hearing aid.
Your 3 minutes are up. Yeah, we're ready to move on to the next speaker. Your 3 minutes are up.
So anyway, sorry about that. The
Thank you.
anxiety's killing.
Thank you. The next speaker, Zosia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zosha. I live on the Serpentine Walk. Everybody's like, oh my gosh. Well, the Serpentine Walk is beautiful, and people I've noticed are not walking there very much anymore, especially with their dogs, because there's this feeling that all the coyotes are there. The good thing about the Serpentine Walk is that it's open field and you can see the coyotes coming. And most of the attacks on coyotes recently have not been on the Serpentine Walk. They've been in enclosed places, sometimes in between the houses, where the coyotes can easily hide. I taught self-defense in New York for 30 years. I am really worried about a lot of the people and how they walk here. A lot of the elders have very poor posture. They might have physical ailments. Some of them have walkers. These coyotes are predators. I'm used to the two-legged predators in New York, but they're not very different. They look for an easy target. And in terms of carrying a stick, I carry this. I carry it, right? This has a laser on the top. You need 2 fingers to engage it. I carry it with the first one is on and my fingers on the second one. I can't take any time to take it off and fumble with it. It has to be absolutely ready. You have to practice with whatever weapon you have. You cannot fumble with a stick. You cannot fumble with anything. Whatever you carry, you need to practice with. And I agree with everybody else. Something needs to be done because not everybody is so physically able here. And my heart goes out to everybody who's lost their dogs, and it's just happening over and over and over. And I heard that a German Shepherd was attacked today by 2 coyotes and killed. If this is true, then it's really gotten out of hand. I'm also the daughter of Holocaust survivors, and I know my parents are probably rolling over in their graves because of what's happening here, so I wanted to just thank everybody for the Holocaust Remembrance Day as well. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick.
I'll help you. Papa George's.
Papa George's, thank you.
I as well am here about the coyotes. I've been in the woods for about 2 years, and I've experienced a squirrel taken right in front of me, 2 dog attacks right outside my front door on Calle Aragon 37, and both dogs were lost. I've had coyotes confront me, and it's gotten extremely worse in the last few months. At this point, to me, Laguna Woods is a premier retirement community. Seniors have chosen to live here in this community to become a part of the city proposed designed for retired, and it was designed for senior mature adults. The coyotes have gone from a public nuisance into a clear and imminent danger. They're, as spoken, it's not just animals, it's now small children would be taken for sure, but they're taking on adults just because they can tell that they're more frail. This is beyond a public safety problem. I gave you copies of this. I'm not going to go through it all. I cited some stuff about Prop 172 that gives the funding from the state and gives the charge for public safety to the cities and all the organizations. It needs to be taken an imminent threat right now. And again, I expressed a couple of specific dates and times where these events happened right near me. The other thing I wanted to point out that is being eliminated here, dogs are extremely valuable tools for seniors. They're not only companions for people that have lost their mates. They're companions, but they also, many doctors will tell singles and seniors to get a dog. It forces them to get up and walk, whether it's out the door to do business, whatever. So if the out the door is eliminated because of the threat, this is now also a medical emergency. This is just, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, I'm not going to go through the details. I'll burn my 3 minutes. But I've also heard that this city council has addressed it. Many of the other cities in the county in general have not. So I would recommend the consideration of what it takes to get everybody to engage. I've also heard that many of the dens are not in here. Okay, they still need to be tracked. I second the motion to hire actual exterminators and hunters to get after this. It's at that level. And also, I would encourage the city hall and council to consider legal actions. So if the money is not here for some reason to do whatever it takes, the codes are there. Go get the money. If the other cities are not taking it seriously, I think that there should be motions, actions from this council to the other surrounding cities to force them. And then it can also go after the state.
Thank you, sir. Your time is
Legal action needs to happen.
Gay Page.
I do want to point out, council members, that Ms. Page has provided us a handout that I will distribute to you after the meeting.
My name is Gay Page, and I'm here to request implementation of a mandatory emergency enforcement protocol for aggressive coyotes in Laguna Woods. The request today is not about increasing education, awareness, or feeding prohibitions. Those measures already exist and are failing to keep the public safe. I'm here with a proposed emergency response measure to address the increased aggression of coyotes due to overpopulation and scarcity of food. When food sources decline and populations increase, coyotes lose their natural fear of humans. The result is bold daytime behavior of stalking and attacks on pets and humans. We're now seeing that pattern in Laguna Woods. The city already has the legal authority to act. Title V of the Laguna Woods Municipal Code provides enforcement authority, prohibits feeding predatory wildlife, and establishes standards for dangerous animals and humane treatment. At the state level, California law classifies coyotes as non-game animals and permits their targeted removal year-round when public safety or property is threatened. Nothing in state law prevents timely action. The issue is not whether the city can act, it's whether it's required to act immediately when defined danger thresholds are met. The proposed protocol doesn't expand your authority. It mandates use of the authority you already have. It establishes clear triggers, requires prompt deployment of professional wildlife services, and eliminates discretionary delays when aggressive behavior is documented. The approach is humane, targeted, and evidence-based. It focuses on specific dangerous animals, not indiscriminate removal. It aligns with state law, California Department of Fish and Wildlife guidance, and best practices for urban wildlife management. Most importantly, it prioritizes public safety. Monitoring and reporting incidents is no longer sufficient with increasing aggressive behaviors. Educating the public does nothing to stop habituated predators. Delay in taking immediate steps to remove dangerous coyotes is increasing the public safety risk. I respectfully urge the council to adopt the mandatory emergency enforcement protocol and direct staff to act immediately to ensure public safety. I prepared a packet for each of you that includes the emergency protocol, a legal overview, as well as a motion the council could adopt. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Marie Collins.
Hi, my name is Marie Collins. I live in Laguna Woods. I understand that Laguna Woods is about 95%, that I say Laguna Woods Village is about 95% of the city of Laguna Woods. So you've got a large population that at this point in time, it's just really not reasonable to not do something. Public safety is really the first thing we have to do in government, because if we're not safe, then we can't do the next thing and have rights to vote and things like that. I have not researched this myself, but we've been told over there in several meetings that the California Fish and Wildlife have certain restrictions and on removing, killing, whatever, make the coyotes stop killing our dogs and us. I haven't researched that myself, but accepting that that's true, the first thing we've done, all of you in Laguna Woods Village and in Laguna Woods, is try to keep it from happening. Don't feed them. Carry sticks. Do everything we can do to keep it from happening. But it's not reasonable when it rises to this point. It is public safety, and we just have to do something. Now, if we have the ammunition, literal or physical, to do something about it legally, then we need to look into that and do it. If we don't, we have two very good representatives from this area. Assemblywoman Dixon represents us in the Assembly, and Senator Choi represents us in the Senate, and the city could go to them and ask for some kind of exception. If this rule is so prominent that it cannot be wavered, we could ask for an exception. The Assembly and Senate could vote to give a little exception here. Like if you, in Texas, in Galveston in 1900, we had this wave come over the city of Galveston. Until then, we had to keep the beaches calm. Don't do anything to it. Well, then they were able, after that public safety issue was so big, wiped out Galveston, they built a safety wall. Well, they had to, get the legislature to change or make an exception for that particular area. So it may be that we need a particular exception for this area, because this is an exceptionally bad problem. Thanks.
Thank you. David Cohen.
It's been a couple of years. First of all, I want to thank the city for trying to do abatement measures. You have shot 14 coyotes in 5 months. You're now going to be putting out snare traps. However, 14 coyotes is a really small drop in a very large bucket. And I know we use as a paradigm, we use Seal Beach. Wow, they got rid of coyotes in 2014. Seal Beach is having the same problem we're having right now. And they're addressing it the same way. But one of the things they're adding is they're looking at population control. Pasadena is looking at population control. Now, I'm not going to mention names, but we have a city council member who I met with who's very open and very supportive for this. We also have a city council member who told me that you guys don't deal with impossibilities, and what we're proposing is a possibility. Very rapidly, because I'm not going to go further in this, there are other municipalities who are extremely interested in this, and we will take it to them. There is a method to control population. It's a long-term solution, okay? There is a method to sterilize males. All the technology is in the state, because the state used this technology to drop rabies vaccine in Humboldt County. I'm not going to, if anybody's interested, there's a presentation, I can send it to you, but when I've heard from the city council before, that you have, unlike other towns in the area, you have no interest in this. Even Pasadena, which 2 years ago said sterilization is not possible, is now believing that sterilization is possible because of a drug that's out there. But what I want to address is, we have these aggressive coyotes, and somebody, it's not me, somebody from animal safety told me that they're aggressive because we were locked in for 2 years, and they had rule of the roost, and they're not afraid of us anymore. But we have a population, somebody said 93% of the city, probably 93 or 94% of the tax base of the city. We have people not enjoying themselves, but walking around in fear. I guarantee you that everyone behind me, every resident, is paying in a neighborhood of $10,000 to $12,000 a year association fees, and a significant amount comes to support this city. Okay, our taxes. The other day, Third Mutual had a meeting saying, oh, we're not going to talk about coyotes, bring it to the city council. Why aren't you talking to the boards? You live in the community, why isn't there some sort of relationship in the boards? This is somebody is going to die. There's no question about it. Somebody's going to fall. We have a community with a mean age, and I'm looking quickly, 76.1. So I'm going to finish this right now. We are your constituents. We voted you in. Your obligation, one of your obligations, is to keep us safe. So please, do your job and start keeping us safe.
Ronald Drayden.
Good afternoon, board members, city council, and the mayor. I'm Ron Drowden, president of the Laguna Woods Dog Club. We are aware of the coyote situation here. I've been here for 15 years, and it seems like it's gotten a lot worse. I've talked to other municipalities. Yesterday, I talked with Seal Beach, Leisure World. They have the same problem. They're doing something about it also. They always come up with the same solution, watch where you walk, make sure your dog's behind you, use a 4-foot leash, don't put food out, to feed the coyotes. It's just an endless list. So hopefully the city can take some kind of an action on it or do something about it. David Cohn, who just spoke to you guys, is the vice president of our club. He has a doctorate degree in pharmacology, so he knows what he's talking about sterilization. Hopefully this might solve the problem. We have to start somewhere with solving this problem. It's just, I get calls all the time at the dog club. I was attacked. Coyotes are following me. I fell over. It's just endless. They come to dog club meeting, we hear the same situation of the coyotes' aggressiveness. I mean, they are predators, ambush predators. So you have to be on your alert. And hopefully you guys can resolve this situation, and it'd be a more pleasurable thing to walk your dog here in Laguna Woods without looking over your shoulder. I mean, that's happened to me many times. I'd be walking my dog, 8:50 in the morning or so, and I hear all the crows screaming. And I turn around, and there was a bunch of coyotes following me. So they're probably looking for something for their breakfast buffet. I don't know. But anyway, hopefully you guys do something about it. And the other thing I want to mention is, here in the city of Laguna Woods, you need a dog license and a vaccination. I hear people all the time say, well, my dog only goes out to do his duty. It doesn't need a vaccination, and it doesn't need a rabies shot. That's not true. So this coming February 5th, we have Dog License and Vaccination Day, Clubhouse 1, and it runs from 10 until 1. You get a vaccination, you get a license. There'll be people there to take care of you, and it's a one-stop shop for everybody. And thank you all.
Thank you. Diane Campbell.
Hi, my name's Diane Campbell, and I appreciate your time. I've been a resident here for 14 years, and I've seen a major shift in the attitude of the coyotes. I've been brought up around coyotes. I was a part-time resident up in Apple Valley with my grandparents back in the early 60s, late 50s, I don't really remember. But we have seen an aberrant change. This is not normal coyote behavior. They have shifted. I put my little 12-pound dog in this, and he really hates it. He can hardly pee. He's got this over him to hold it on because this is not enough. He likes to be petted when we go up to people. How do people pet him? Life has become a living hell here. I moved here because it's an aged community. I'm 70 years old. I'm a disabled law enforcement officer. I was a deputy that protected the elderly and the mentally ill. I handled conservatorships. I was a public guardian. I need to be protected now. And I realize that you guys might be trying the best you can, but it's not good enough. We're not okay. I've got my pepper spray, and I've used it, and yeah, they don't like it. But do you know how close they have to get for you to get them with pepper spray? You know, I have dreams about what I'm going to do to a coyote. It's not pretty. I wake up terrified, and I can't go back to sleep. And to this, I've spent $500,000 to move to Laguna Woods to live in. Something's very wrong, and we've got to do something. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. I know you guys don't have it in your personal pocket to make magic and change, but we need to find where the magic is, and we need to make the change. If you need any help from us as a community, let us know what you need. We're desperate. And I don't know about everybody else, but I think we'd all put up our hand and say, F yeah, I'll volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate Kennedy.
Hi, my name is Kate Kennedy, and I appreciate everybody that's here and everybody that has spoken before me. And I am so sorry to the couple over here who just recently lost their dog. It is just heartbreaking. I have the opposite problem from a lot of people. I have a dog that's almost 60 pounds. And so I am not foolish enough to realize that I would be totally safe. If we came across a pack of coyotes, we'd be in serious trouble. But I wanted to just offer a couple of suggestions. I know you were saying not to use a cane, but if you have a cane and you shake it and you yell and you bang something that is metal that is nearby, that is kind of something that scares them away. And I'll be glad too if anybody wants. I went to a coyote meeting that they had, and like if you get a can and you put stuff in it, they hate noise. They hate noise, and aside from us yelling at it, and I won't use this, because this is way too loud, but you can get this online. This is a bear horn. And the thing is, it's not like air that runs out. You press the button here, and you can walk with this and also have your dog, type of thing. And you can keep pressing this, and it's louder than hell. And so it's kind of obnoxious. And last, or not last, the good old-fashioned whistle. This, and even if you just use this and call for help and call Coyote, somebody's going to come out. You know what I mean? And I know you were saying not this, but I've got this for my girl that I put on at night. This also just protects me from driving, for people driving and seeing and whatever. But this little flashlight is phenomenal because it not only has got a near and a far, but it also has got like a flashing thing, and they do not like light. And so if you have got something that flashes, I won't turn it on because I'll blind all of you, but there's like 3, and there's one that cracks me up at the end. It's an SOS. Who the hell anymore knows what SOS is, But anyway, so these are just all the little things that I take with me. But the last thing I would say, please get rid of those retractable leashes. Please. Please, 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 because, people are walking along and the dog's behind them or ahead of them, and you're just waving an appetizer on the stick. You really are. And the other thing is there are a lot of people who are a lot older, and you're absolutely right, the coyotes are smart. They target who are weakest. They know the difference between male and female. They know the difference between strong and weak. And so please just get your neighbors to walk with you. Don't walk alone. Do not walk with your dogs alone, particularly if you're older. You don't have to have 14 dogs. You can have 3 or 4 people, and they will think twice because there's easier prey. Thank you so much.
Ms. Kennedy.
Next speaker, Robert Helford.
Thank you for this opportunity. I spoke recently to the GRF board about this problem. I've lived in the area for over 30 years in Laguna Niguel. I live right off of Wood Canyon, which is Coyote City down there, and I live off of Chaparosa Park. I've never seen coyotes not afraid of me. I could walk down the street with my little dog. Coyotes would come out and run like hell because they were scared of me. Not true here. I've been living here over a year. I've had more encounters, including one coming up to my car looking for something to eat. 3 weeks ago, my little dog was attacked by a coyote. The only thing I could do was charge the coyote. Thank God he ran away. Right at that spot, the gentleman was just injured who spoke before. We've had 3 injuries within, I understand, 2 months, because I was told after I spoke to the board that somebody had gotten hurt while I was speaking. Your fundamental responsibility as a city council is to provide the safety of your residents, and you ain't doing it. In looking at your consent calendar, you're spending over $20,000 for non-existent animal services from Laguna Beach for a 2-month period. And you had to spend another $3,000 in November to get a trapper. They're not doing their job. I've had Mission Viejo Animal Control Services my whole time here. The July meeting, you had a representative from Laguna Beach, and I'm going to tell you, I know her because she used to come to my neighborhood when we had problems. Rattlesnakes, coyotes, or whatever. She didn't tell the truth at that meeting. She said, our hands are tied, we can't trap, we can't kill, we can't do anything because Fish and Wildlife will not allow it. That's false, and she knew it. Every day I go out to walk my dog, and usually I see the Animal Control Services truck pass my house on Mallorca. They go down the street, they make a turn, I go down to Sevilla, and I turn left. By the time I'm at the PAC, he's going out the gate 3. That's not animal services. I contacted our Assemblywoman, Dixon, last week. And when I told her, she said, well, you don't get real animal control services because they have 2 people. 2 for all of Laguna Beach. And my understanding is 79% of the coyote problem is here. When we had problems, Mission Viejo was out there. They went out, they destroyed the dens, they did what they could to move them on. The problem we have is we have a permanent population of coyotes who are not afraid of us today. A few months ago, my son's son was visiting me, and we had 3 coyotes stalking him, a 6-year-old boy. It's time that something is done. It's time for you guys to get off your ass and bring in some real animal control services.
Next, we have Ellie.
Pretty exciting group around here. Good afternoon. Thank you, council members. My name's Ellie Ludi. I'm a fairly new resident here at Laguna Woods. And just like many of you here, I've had coyotes stalking me. The first month that I moved here, I didn't even know there was a coyote problem. I walked outside my gate. All of a sudden, I had 3 coyotes coming right at me. I have 2 dogs. Immediately, I started screaming, jumping up and down. It's so dark in the communities. That's another problem at night. When you go out, it's very wooded. It's very, very poor lighting. I'm sure a lot of you have the same situation. Every time I walk out my door in the evening or early morning, I absolutely think, pray to God, I can make it home safe. This is not a comfortable way to live. I've moved here as a senior because I wanted to live in a community where I feel safe, and I don't feel safe. And we have to do something about it. And I'm pretty active, but I look at some of the residents that are within my neighborhood, and I pray to God that they're not knocked over, killed. They're dogs, little tiny dogs, and I just think every night, thank God they can make it home. Why are we expected to live like this? It's absolutely not acceptable. Thank you.
Shayna Herman.
I'd like to say, some gentleman said earlier that the average age out here is 76.1. Well, I'm probably one of the younger residents here. I'm 56 years old, and I was very happy to move to Laguna Woods. I relocated here after losing a husband, and my 2 pugs are my world. I have had 3 incidents in 6 months.
Speak into the mic, please.
I have had 3 incidents in 6 months with coyotes encounters. If I can't protect myself at 56 years old, a woman who I generally think I'm in shape, how are any of my fellow residents who are much older than me expected to take care of themselves?
Excuse me, if you speak into the mic, the television will hear you.
Okay.
If you turn your back, then you're just talking to the
I
room.
want them to know that I'm here to represent. I am, okay? And I have fallen. I hurt myself. A coyote came, attacked me and another resident we were walking together. Got her dog, did not get my 2. In gathering up my 2, petrified, terrified, I fell, okay? I was lucky that the one dog that I did drop, I was able to capture, and in doing that, I yelled and screamed and had other neighbors coming out because they saw what happened, and they yelled for the coyote to go away, and it did, okay? Luckily, I had backup. This is not a way to live, and if you guys don't want to do anything about it, tell us. Because we may be old, but we ain't stupid, okay? We didn't get here at this age where we are because we're stupid, okay? And yes, we're older, but don't diminish that. Don't diminish that. If you don't want to help us help the problem, let us know. We'll take it into our own hands. Somebody has to do something about it. I just don't understand. I have lived in Texas. I have lived in New Mexico. I've been around coyotes my whole life. Never have I ever seen the aggressiveness of these coyotes. And honestly, if you don't want to do something about it, tell us. Just be Honest. I don't want to do anything about it. I don't care. Whatever. So we can move on to the next person. Something has to be done because I'm telling you, I talk to these people. We're about to start taking this into our own hands. That's right. And I'm going to yield back any time that I have. So.
Our next speaker, Pam Thomas. Thomas? Pam?
Hi, I've lived here for a year. I've been attacked 4 times by coyotes. I was attacked by 2 coyotes at the same time. They got a hold of my little dog's tail. And then once I reported it, my dog had to be quarantined. So you're not creating, I've talked to Fish and Game, I've talked to everyone in the county, and it's almost like the dog's being penalized or the people are being penalized because you're not doing anything. But, you know, we are in fear. I don't know if anyone has ever had that feeling of being in fear when you walk outside your door. I have chased coyotes from my front door waiting for me to come out with my dog. I've chased them around the building because I know all of my friends are going to be coming out. And there's a coyote that's right back at my front door. He knows where my dog is, and he is hunting him. And so when you are attacked by 2 dogs and you are kicking coyotes off of your dog, you should never have to live like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Robin Rose.
Good afternoon. Thanks for seeing and hearing all of us today. I want to make a couple of comments. I have a group of coyote management or alert people, residents, almost 450 of us now strong, and I have been collecting data which the authorities in Laguna Woods Village have failed to do, and that is the human injury numbers and the dog deaths, including dogs that die from their injuries later on that might not be collected from Laguna Beach Animal Control. I want to say that we have had coyotes come over patio walls. I have at least 4 reports of those. One was an article in the OC Register in 2016, I think it was, and a coyote came over a wall, broke through a screen, and took a cat right out of the house. We're not allowed to raise our patio walls. We haven't been allowed to express a lot of what you're hearing, the anger in people's voices today, are somebody's been waving a negligence wand and blaming seniors for not protecting their dogs well. I want to say that if coyotes are sly and fast enough to kill birds, human beings do not have a chance. So you can carry weapons and you can try and protect yourself, but if you save your dog under these circumstances, you have just been lucky. I also have a very quick response, and I carry around a stun stick, which I operate with 2 buttons, and I'm always prepared. That means I'm walking around tense, I have anxiety. I lost my dog last year when some neighbors were walking him. If I had known about the danger in this community before I purchased, I never would have taken that chance. We are owed a chance to take that risk upon ourselves. Don't leave it up to just the HOA boards in the city to do something about it. Let residents make their own choice about this. I also want to tell residents we are now in mating season. Coyotes are going to be very aggressive. And then in March, April, we will enter into denning season, and they will be very, very aggressive. We've had large dogs surrounded and injured. A pit bull in Laguna Hills was killed later from his injuries during an attack. They attack big dogs because they see them as competition for food. 3 children that have been reported to me have been chased. We had 2 women die, one in 2014, one in 2016. And the
Ms.
daughter
Rose.
that came
Your
to
time
clean
is up.
out her condo had no idea that her mother was involved in a coyote attack.
Thank you, Ms. Rose.
Thank you. We have our final speaker, who is an unidentified man. So whoever the unidentified man is that submitted this. Are there more? There's an opportunity to fill out a speaker card so that you will be heard. So please, if you don't want to fill out the speaker card, you can wait in line and we'll recognize you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I've been in Laguna Woods since 2012. My background isn't important. I've lived in California for about 28 years. I've never seen anything like it. I owned ranch in Colorado, spent a lot of time in Colorado and Wyoming, and had to deal with normal predators that you would see, whether it was small bear, wolves, coyotes. Never saw a situation. These coyotes, everything everyone said before, I would agree 100%, actually more than that. They have created and bred into their training, their pups, a different mentality than I've seen in the wildlife. Our ecosystem and land management is completely now imbalanced. It's as fundamental as that. It's codified federally and in states that you're empowered to do something about that. I'm not going to give you the sites. They've already, Gay Page has done a wonderful job in providing that for you. But we have to cull this herd. They do it in land management. They do it with Mustangs. There's birth control that they shoot at Mustangs now because the farmers are, ranchers have issues between cattle and Mustangs and grazing, and they're not attacking each other. I went out, I lost my dog a few years. I haven't replaced a dog for just this reason. And it breaks my heart because I really am a dog person. I've never not had a dog in my life. But it would be irresponsible for me to bring a puppy or another dog in right now because I can't fend them off. 3 o'clock in the afternoon 2 weeks ago, 4 coyotes surrounded me on Sevilla. I got into my car and laid on the horn. I didn't know what to do, and I was just thankful I had my keys with me. I went back to my house, and they ran and came up on 2 sides. I'm in the Madrid complex, and the other 2 ran around the other side. They were literally so smart that they were hunting. Yeah. So you have a land management problem, and the ecosystem is completely imbalanced right now. And it's incumbent upon the government to step in, and as I said, it's codified that you can. And this is, without a doubt, for animals, it's a life and death situation. And we are, I think, at the point for humans, we are now facing a life and death situation based on it's not even the demographics of the age. You know, I'd be terrified to have my grandchildren here at this point. I have never felt unsafe anywhere I live, even when I had a big ranch and had to have a 22. I'm fearful walking around here now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name's William Nessie. I live right next door to Frank. I just now found out that his dog was killed. I'm gonna make this short and sweet. The coyotes, when I moved here 5 years ago, there were rabbits everywhere. They had plenty of food. They had geese that would come in, ducks that would come in. They had plenty of food. They kind of left us alone. There are no rabbits anymore. We're it. We're the dog food that you go to the store to buy. Unless you guys, number 2, you got an animal control that you call them and you sign in and you say, hey, I saw them. I've been interactive with, at one time, 7 of them in one day. They're out there. You don't have animal control come walking down through where we go. I go every day on a walk. I've never seen anybody out there seeing what we're having to put up with. You need to hire some people or get some, don't get the animal control people that you got right now. They came out to where I live because there was one that was wounded and they were going to shoot it with a dart to let it, you know, so they could take it away. 10 feet away, this guy couldn't even shoot it with a dart gun. 10 feet, I mean, from here to that sign, he couldn't hit it. You have inept people working over there. Hire some young people, give them some paintball guns, have them walking around in the morning and see what's going on. They'll tell you, hey, there's way too many of these things and they're too aggressive and you need to get rid of them. And this is kind of a weird one, but if I was a crook and I came in here and I was doing what these coyotes are doing to us, what would you guys do? You wouldn't say it's okay, just bring a stick. No, you wouldn't. You guys would be in here knee deep, taking people away. Well, why aren't you doing that with these coyotes? They are threatening our survival.
We need eyes in here.
Get them out. Anybody. I'm done. I'm over. But you have to do something or there are people going to die.
I don't have any more speaker cards. Does anyone else? Anyone that has not spoken? Absolutely. Yes.
Hi, my name's Jan Rand. I've lived here for 14 years. I got this for my 70th birthday present and I was pissed. It's a non-lethal. I've had to use it 15 times on coyotes. I live on a little uphill and I have a neighbor below me who has a dog, and I watch the coyotes circle her house every day and go up to her door, and I keep my window open so I can warn her. I feel like Rambo when I go out. I wear this like this. I got my fanny pack with my taser just in case and the horn so I can warn other people. One day I was walking my big dog alone and I look around to make sure there's no coyotes. I don't see anything. I'm walking up a little incline. First day I had this with me, and all of a sudden somebody yelled and there were 2 coyotes coming up on my dog. I took this thing out and I started shooting and they took off. So,
can you please put that away and stop pointing at it?
okay, I'm sorry. It's non-lethal. It can't kill anybody. All right, I got it. I got it. You're right. I got it. Anyways, it's a great thing. I highly recommend it. It's not going to solve the problem, but it makes me feel a little safer. Every night I take my dogs out of Laguna Woods and walk them at a park because it's safer. So, yeah, something needs to be done.
Thank you. Do we have any more speakers? It looks like we don't have any more speakers, so I would like for some council response or city manager to have we'll just have.
My name's Mark Spruler, and I've lived in Laguna Woods for 20 years. I just
Talk into the mic, please. Talk into the mic.
I'm sorry. I lost a dog 3 days ago, and I've never felt the kind of pain that I'm in right now, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know if I ever will. We love the dog. We have 2 of them. I have one. My girlfriend has the other. We've been together 17 years, so we got a great family. But she walked outside, didn't wrap the leash around her head, but the coyotes knew where the dog was at because it goes to the bathroom outside. Of course, they're real smart, but there's too many coyotes. I've seen 5 or 6 in the last 2 weeks. I can't deny what they are, but actually, I'm just really nervous and shaking right now, and I'm not in control of my life in the last 4 days. It's been 3 days, and I'm carrying a 9mm with me now, and I'm going to kill a coyote that comes. No, I'm not carrying it right now, but when I deal with the dog, the gun goes with me, And I'm going to get a carried license for sure. I'm going to sign up today. And I'm going to kill a dog if it comes up in the vicinity of any of I have another female that I have. But like I said, I just wanted to tell the experience of how sad. It's worse than my mother, my father, my grandparents, anybody that I've ever lost. I've dealt with that. We get through it. We're all going to die. But to have a puppy walk out, and you walk out early in the morning, and there was 2 of them, came right up from the back, grabbed the dog, and you turn around and you watch this coyote carrying your dog away, looking at you, wondering what's going on, I would assume, and it's gone. And your whole life changes because you're acclimated to your dog. It's like you do what your dog wants you to do. You don't do what the dog wants to do. Basically, he has you under control, and there's so much love in an animal that it just broken my heart. And I mean, my girl and I would get together. Thank God, and we just hold each other. And I don't know when I'm going to heal, and I'm trying to find a way to do it. But I am going to deal with this. I'd like to get some phone numbers sometime because I'm going to go to the club in Laguna Beach, dog club, and I assume that this. Why doesn't Laguna Woods tell people when they buy a house that we have coyote problems? Because they're going to lose sales. And bottom line, they never saw anybody. They don't do nothing. I get a ticket for going 30 miles an hour. Why don't they ticket people that aren't controlling their dogs or doing the right thing? It's just all messed up. And I'm not really together in my thoughts right now, but I've spoke to myself for 2 hours straight speaking what I'm going to do. And I'm just...
Thank you, Mr.
just hurt.
Schooler. Your
All right.
time is up.
Thank you. Okay, so it looks like we've come to the end of public comments. Any council members, council member comments?
Before we have council member comments, can I just note we did receive written public comments before the meeting from Donna Carbach, and we've provided that to the city council as well.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to read that comment, or just we have it for
Your discretion.
Okay. How about council member comment? You would want to speak?
Sure, I'll comment. I want you to know that we hear you. I have lost a sweet and beloved cat to coyotes a number of years ago. I know what it's like to lose a pet. In addition, we are concerned about the public safety of our residents. And I know that people who are fighting to save the life of a beloved pet stand a risk of injury. And public safety is important to us. Your safety is important to us. What we have here is a cataclysmic and critical problem that needs an urgent and immediate solution. And the problem is there is no urgent and immediate and complete solution to this kind of a problem. We're not going to take helicopters and machine guns and fly them over the wilderness area to wipe out the coyotes. We're not going to spray poison over the neighborhood to kill them on contact. We can't set fire to the sagebrush and burn out their dens, okay? What we can do, and what we are doing, even though it seems like some people don't know this, we have and we are contracting with wildlife management companies. There are companies that shoot and there are companies that trap, and we have used and are using both of them. These guys don't pick and choose. They don't say, okay, well, we're going to let this one go and we're going to take that one. They take all the ones they can find. And they, as Mr. Cohen pointed out, we have collected 14 coyotes, which doesn't seem like very many considering how many sightings there are. But this is why it's important for you guys to report the sightings that you have so that
If we could have you, please. Now, we've allowed you to speak, and we allowed you the time to speak, so please allow the council to speak uninterrupted.
Yeah, thank you. They're not going to come right now. And, you call and say, okay, I just saw a coyote here, 3 coyotes approached my dog. They're not going to come out there then and find that the coyotes have gone somewhere else. It's just that if you can establish a pattern that coyotes are seen at this place at this time and this place at this time, it will help the abatement effort if they know better where to look. I think it's been our habit in the past, it's been our policy that we keep taking coyotes until we get the aggressive ones, until the attacks stop. And what I hear from you is that the entire coyote population has become habituated to finding a food source here in our community. And that means that as policymakers, we need to consider how many and how long we want to keep this process up. And I assure you that giving you the mental health benefit of having a safe pet and giving you the physical security benefit of not falling over in the street while you're fighting for the life of your pet, those things are important to us, and we will work on it.
Thank you.
I know that.
Okay.
I would suggest that you talk to your housing mutual about the possibility of putting shepherd hooks on the top of your patio walls, which are visually not too troublesome and different than than just extending the concrete blocks up, and might provide a little safer spot for you in your patio.
Okay.
Anyway, well, you could put them in all at your own
Okay, can we
expense as
please
well.
not have conversation back and forth?
Yeah, we didn't back and forth with you when you were talking.
Okay, so can we,
Okay, so I just want you to know there is no legal impediment to us working to get rid of the coyotes. We know this. We have been working on it since we last met with you in July of this last year. And we will continue to work on it until we can get this problem solved. So I thank you all for coming out today. I appreciate hearing your stories. It has given me a little bit more of an impression of the magnitude and the volume of the problem, and I appreciate that. So thank you for coming today.
thank you. And can we just have, okay, so we're on to council comments now. We can't have a discussion back and forth. So I'm sorry for all of you who have not made your comments, but as a council, we cannot have a conversation back and forth.
Thank you. I have to say, my dog was attacked in June, so she was fortunate. The doctor said, the veterinarian
Speak into your
said
mic, please.
that, it's on, said that one distracts and the other's attack, and that was precisely what happened. I personally don't think carrying all that stuff is going to work, because I did try carrying the pepper spray. All you've got to do is fall once and that breaks off. You don't have time. When they come, I have to agree from my personal experience that I think it's too dangerous for you to try to get involved in trying to fight off the coyote. No, I think that's not a realistic response. I don't think you should have to build your house a wall either. I don't think that's going to work. They're not going to, they can come over. We know they go over 8-foot walls, so I don't think that's a good response either. The response really is to remove them. I have to agree. You have to get the numbers down, and I'm not sure what our choices are in doing that, because I think trapping them, if that's what it takes, or whatever it takes to eliminate, they are aggressive. They have changed, and they found that's happened with raccoons. Animals that are living in urban areas are changing. They're adapting to a new, and genetically they are changing. So I don't think that we should be thinking about what was. This is the way it is right now. We have aggressive coyotes. They are great predators. Boy, they are fantastic, and they will watch. I have learned, my dog is larger, and I have learned that I can make myself bigger and yell, but they're not afraid of me. I'd be stupid to think the coyote's afraid. They're just looking to think, well, I don't know, I've got other things to do. They'll do it. But they will take your dog. But it sounds to me as if much of this is happening. How many people here are from United? How many are not from United? So the greatest number is there. Although I live in Third, and I think the problem is there too, I think United has the greater problem, and I think the density of people and dogs is an enticement for the coyotes. Coyotes do not eat citrus fruit, so taking out your citrus fruit will do nothing. They don't even eat it. So those are not good responses. I do have to agree that finding the response that either traps those animals or gets rid of them is the only way you can do this, because you cannot go out there and carry all these sticks. First off, you're going to trip yourself. That's unreal. So I firmly believe that we need a way of understanding who, and I'm not saying that is us because I don't know, and I think these were very good pieces of information, what our responsibility is and what you can do. Because if it means you working with a mutual to put traps, because I don't know that we can do that. That's the kind of thing that we have to know more about. Because the coyotes do have to be removed. I'm firmly with you on that. I experienced it. I know what happens. So I think maybe could our city manager respond to that? Who is best suited for this? Because that's what we need to do, is define what our roles are here. Thank you.
I want to say on behalf of staff that we appreciate the comments today. I know how difficult it is to come to a public meeting in the first place, let alone walk up to a microphone and share your thoughts. So I appreciate that. Many of you, I recognized your names. I've corresponded with or spoke with you separately. For those who want to follow up and have a one-on-one conversation after this, I'm happy to do that and make myself available. To the root of the issue, somebody used the term cull the herd, population control. That is what is taking place right now. It will continue. It will not stop until the overly habituated and aggressive coyote behavior ceases. I've been with the city for just under 20 years. I was here 15 years ago when we had the last really significant uptick. That got us into the game of abatement. That's when we started, at that point, trapping coyotes, later hunting coyotes. I personally authorize each round of abatement. I can tell you it's not stopping. There's absolutely no truth to that rumor. We are, for the first time, going to double up and do hunting with trapping. There are some limitations to that, as Councilmember Moore alluded to. It's not an impossible obstacle, but we need to obtain property owner permission to place traps. Again, we've done it in the past. It's been successful in the past. There's no reason to believe that it won't be in the future. So that's something that we're working through. But I just want to assure you that we understand that the path forward here is population control. It is disrupting that aggressive behavior. That's what's happening. I realize it hasn't been as effective as we would like yet. It breaks my heart to hear the stories that were shared today. But we're going to keep at it. We're going to double it up. We're going to do what it takes. There is no truth to there being a legislative impediment. Nobody on city staff side is claiming that Fish and Wildlife is preventing us from doing something. That's simply not true. We are going to keep at it. That's what I can tell you. But again, if anybody wants to talk one-on-one, I imagine we'll take a break after public comments conclude. I'm happy to connect with you after this meeting sometime and talk a little bit more specifically. So hopefully that's helpful, but we did hear you. I do think we understand the severity of the situation, and now it's a matter of, putting the actions there, right? So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, and any council member have any final comments?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to what's already been said, but have no doubt that we do care. We're not sitting up saying, the heck with any of you. We care. We care from a public safety. We also have our own pets that we like to walk and take care of. Hearing these stories is horrible, and we don't want it to happen. We have met with the board several times. We had compliance and security and Third and United and GRF, animal control. We were all there, and we discussed different ways to take care of it. And contrary to saying that they don't eat citrus, they do, and especially when there's a drought. But more importantly, rats do, and coyotes eat rats, and growing the fruits and vegetables, and there are people that feed coyotes. So it's a multi-pronged issue. I do support hunting more, and the reason you don't see the hunters is they're out there in the middle of the night. When coyotes are even more active is at nighttime, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's unlikely that you would see somebody out there with a gun shooting. But we do care. We care a lot, and we're going to do whatever we can to take care of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments? Okay.
Well, I think this is the very first time that I hear we allowed plenty time for public comments, and every one of you who wanted to share your experience. This has been a very good for me to find out. I know that the problem is lot more serious, and also for those who owns a dog and lost a dog, and it's very personal experience, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But I do think that this was a very valuable afternoon, that we had a chance for you to hear you without interruptions. And I know that as our city manager says, he also heard all of your stories, and we take it very seriously, and he will take steps with us and see how we can proceed and to try to make a difference. And I have a confidence in our city that we will try our best to make a difference. So at this point, I really like to thank everyone to share your stories, and we have heard, and we are very serious about it, and we are very serious about trying to make a difference and improve this situation. Thank you very much for coming out today.
And I'll just add a final comment. I can't add anything that hasn't already been said, except for express my gratitude for you coming out and sharing your experiences. So thank you again, and we'll take.
Do you want to take a brief recess?
We'll take a brief recess right now. And the city manager. Okay, the meeting is called back to order again. If I could have everybody take their seats. If I could ask everybody to take their conversations outside, that would be because we're commencing with the meeting. Thank you. Thank you all, and so we will resume the meeting now. The next item on the agenda is the city treasurer report.
Good afternoon. I'll be reporting the treasurer's report for December 31st, 2025. Cash and investments ended at a total of $13,389,791, which makes up the general fund operating cash and investments with an ending balance of $5,413,087. The general fund reserves had an ending balance of $4,651,600, and the special revenue funds had an ending balance of $3,325,104. Cash and cash equivalents had an ending balance of $870,246. Pooled money investment accounts had an ending balance of $6,194,559, which makes up the LAIF account and the CAMP account. LAIF had an ending balance of $2,548,634 and closed the month with 4.025 yield rate. And CAMP had an ending balance of $3,645,925, closed the month with 3.95% yield rate. Investments in CDs had an ending balance of $6,324,986 with an average yield rate of 4.238%. This totals at $13,389,791. During the month of December, we had 2 CDs that matured, each at $245,000 each. The amounts were transferred to the city's checking account for cash flow purposes. For the trust funds, the other post-employment benefit trust account had an ending balance of $159,590 with a net loss of $358. The pension liability trust account had an ending balance of $578,918 with a net gain of $424. During the previous city council meeting, council approved a contribution of $262,828, which increased this balance to $578,000. At this time, we will receive any public comments.
We're open for public comments. Are there any public comments? Hearing none.
Okay, staff's recommendation for city council is to receive and file the city treasurer's report as of December 2025.
Okay, any opposition? So it's moved in second that we receive and file. No opposition. Thank you. Thank you. The next item is the consent calendar. All items appearing on the consent calendar are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one vote. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a member of the City Council or city staff requests that specific item be removed from the consent calendar for a separate discussion, consideration, and action. Members of the public may address the City Council on any of these items. Did I read that already? Are there any, can I have a motion to accept the consent calendar? Okay, moved in second. Any opposition for the consent calendar? So it is passed. The next item is item 8, public hearings. I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you very much. The first public hearing before you today is a public hearing for conditional use permit CUP-2025-0003. This conditional use permit application pertains to the St. Nicholas Catholic Church property at 24252 El Toro Road. Looking at the screen there, just to orient everybody, the yellow outline is the St. Nicholas Church property. The road right above it, where my cursor is very slowly moving, although I promise it's moving faster on my computer, that is El Toro Road. To the left of the... I can't make that a different color now. Yoli, would you mind turning off one of the lights above the screen? I think that'll make it a little clearer. To the kind of lower left there, you see the Olive Garden and Cart Mart building. Across the street is the Lutheran Church property. You can see a little sliver of the golf course to the left of that. And then to the right side of the screen, you see the Laguna Woods Village neighborhoods. Towards the top part of the screen, you have a portion of the Gate 5 neighborhood. Toward the lower portion of the screen, and then wrapping around the bottom of the St. Nicholas Church property, you have a portion of the Gate 1 neighborhood. The property owner for this property is the church itself, St. Nicholas Church, a California unincorporated nonprofit association. The applicant is actually two parts. So the Camino School, we have a representative here today. I'm going to ask him to raise his hand. Okay. And then St. Nicholas Catholic Church. Do we have a church representative here? No. Okay. The request is to amend an existing conditional use permit, CUP-291. 291 was a conditional use permit that St. Nicholas Church obtained prior to the construction of the parish hall property at the parish hall building at the back of the property. That's that detached two-story, more modern structure at the back bottom right corner of the screen. The conditional use permit request today would do three things. We'll talk about them in a moment individually, but one would allow for the establishment of an educational institution use. The other would approve some alternative provisions to off-street parking regulations for the property. And then the third would allow for the installation of a small outdoor shed. As is the case with all conditional use permits that the City Council acts on, this conditional use permit would apply to both the applicant's proposed use of the property and then any eligible successor uses at the same location. So it is a land use entitlement that runs with the land. As I mentioned, there are three things this conditional use permit would do. The first is allow an educational institutional use, specifically a kindergarten through 8th grade use. So St. Nicholas operated a religious school previously. They have since leased out a portion of the property or otherwise entered into some sort of an agreement with the Camino School to operate a private Catholic school, again, kindergarten through 8th grade. This would allow that educational institution use to operate within buildings and structures already on the property. With the exception of the outdoor shed, which we'll talk about in a moment, there's no new construction proposed. The school use itself would operate primarily in the parish hall building, which was in part purpose-built for educational uses, and then in some of the other single-story structures on the property that serve as educational meeting room type spaces. And then the requested use also includes a portion of the parking lot, which we'll touch on in a moment. As part of this application, the applicant is looking to install a new outdoor shed at the very back of the property between an existing building and the perimeter wall for Laguna Woods Village that along Calle Aragon. The shed that they're looking to install, including the shed and the concrete pad that it's on, would be approximately 144 square feet. So not a very large structure, but just meant to pick up some additional storage on site. The height, I believe, is it meets the height standards on the property, but I want to say that it's either 7 or 8 feet tall. I can show you a picture in a moment of what the area where they're looking to install the shed is. I think it would be very slightly visible, but certainly not very prominent on the backside. There's also a portion of this that amends the parking requirements for the property. So that previous conditional use permit requires a total of 260 parking spaces be provided for the church use. This application wouldn't physically remove any of those 260 spaces, but during certain hours of the week, Monday through Friday, 83 of those spaces would be available to be used for the educational use. So 30 of those spaces would be used for things like student pickup and drop off, staff and faculty parking, and then 53 of those spaces would be used for an outdoor activity area on the parking lot surface. That would be for things like recess, physical education, and lunch. And we'll talk specifically about some of those hours in a moment. We've included conditions of approval in the agenda packet. They're included as Exhibit A to Attachment A. The conditional use permit itself envisions a maximum of 240 students on site at any given time. The school itself would operate Monday through Friday, and I've kind of broken it down here. These are in the conditions of approval, but just at a quick glance, starting at the beginning of the day, student drop-off could begin as early as 7 a.m. The actual instructive portion of the day, the physical school time, would be 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. During that 8 to 3:30 p.m. Time period, there would be two different windows of time, 9:30 to 10:15 a.m. and 12:15 to 1:45 p.m., where outdoor activities would be allowed in that 53 parking space area on the blacktop. Even though there would be 240 students permitted on site at any given time, only 60 of them would be able to be in the outdoor activity area at any given time. So think of this as like staggered lunches, staggered physical education classes, and staggered, kind of recess times. In total, that's, just over 2 hours a day in the outdoor space. So the majority of the school hours would be physically indoors in one of the existing structures on the property. The conditional use permit does require portable safety barriers to be installed around the outdoor activity space, and for those to be removed over the weekends. Part of our thinking with conditioning this project to avoid a parking issue is to make sure that the parking lot is available when churches are typically busiest, which would be Fridays over the weekends. So the portable barriers themselves would be removed towards the end of the school day on Friday. For the rest of the day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the parking lot would be unimpeded, and then the barriers would go back up on Monday. And then finally, no amplified sound as well. We have a condition of approval in there in an attempt to minimize noise in that outdoor activity space. There's no stereos playing music. There's no people on bullhorns or megaphones. Nothing that amplifies the sound and makes it even louder out there. We did require the applicant to prepare a noise study as part of this application, which was then reviewed by our own consultants to validate that there was no reasonable basis to expect that the outdoor activity use would result in a violation of the Laguna Woods Municipal Code. We found that the outdoor activity use can operate without violating the municipal code. And then finally, student pickup would be permitted up until 5 o'clock. So think of it as a Monday through Friday use from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., but with the bulk of that activity occurring during a more conventional school day, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I'm going to just stop sharing my screen briefly so I can pull up that picture to show you the location of the outdoor activity room, or outdoor shed location. Let me... So what you're going to see on the screen here in a moment, and I'll make it larger. This is the very back of the property. It'll get larger inside. There we go. So the shed would be constructed in a portion of this open space here. You can see that there's an existing building to the right. And then this wall here is partially solid, partially has shepherd's hook on the top of it. Immediately behind that wall is Calle Aragon. So there's a street behind it, and then 2 lanes, one each direction, and then homes further recessed. So this is where a concrete pad would be poured and then a small shed installed in order to provide them with some additional storage on the property. And then finally, I do so love that effect, by the way. So our recommendation today is that you hold a public hearing, accept any public testimony on this subject. After closing the public hearing, our recommendation is that you adopt a resolution titled A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Laguna Woods, California, approving conditional use permit CUP-2025-0003 to amend conditional use permit CUP-291 to allow for the establishment of an educational institution use, alternative provisions to off-street parking regulations resulting in a reduction in available off-street parking stalls during certain hours, and installation of an outdoor shed at the property located at 24252 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California 92637, and determining that the conditional use permit is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15301 of Title 14 of the California Code of Regulations. And with that, I will turn it back over to the mayor for the public hearing, and then happy to engage in any discussion you'd like after that.
Are now open. Do we have any public comments? Hearing none. Public hearings are closed. So, and we want,
We'll take a motion if,
A motion?
or if you have any questions or any discussion, happy to entertain that now.
okay.
I move the resolution.
Move second. Okay. Any?
Chris, can you tell me how this use compares with the school that was there previously in terms of number of students and hours of outdoor activity?
I believe the answer is substantially similar. I don't know if the applicant has any ability to compare and contrast the current use versus the St. Nicholas use that preceded you. Is that something you're able to address? Okay, yeah, why don't you come up?
I'm not sure that this helps our case or hurts it, but just to clarify, I believe that the parish hall building was constructed for religious educational purposes, which would have been after-school type activities, Sunday school type things. So a traditional 5-day-a-week, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock type of school has not existed on this site previously.
Oh, okay. That answers my question.
Any other question? So it's.
This has nothing to do with you specifically, but it does have to do with us, and that is, we are seeing, I've been communicating with Chris regarding driving, the driving habits are getting so bad. And I was driving by and saw somebody up in your landscaping the other day. I don't know how that car got up there. And it's not your concern, but I think we need to address helping people improve their driving, because you're going to have more traffic there, very definitely. And I think that has brought my attention even more. And it's not just here. I was telling Chris that in a 7-day period, I was in 3 different traffic jams that were all fatalities. I just couldn't believe it. In 7 days, then I looked on, I thought, well, what's going on? I looked online, and this traffic situations are up, definitely up. And so I think that's something I'd like to even push that even more, that we start talking about how we can help improve driving, because it's becoming a crisis, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and point well taken. And I'll just say that with respect to this application, so I mentioned those portable safety barriers. The conditions of approval are very specific that that's a minimum. The city's not attempting to prescribe an adequate level of traffic safety here. That remains the applicant's responsibility and the owner's responsibility to ensure that their use is conducted in a safe manner. But this has gone through our review and then the Orange County Fire Authority's review to make sure that, for instance, the traffic flow for emergency response vehicles is not obstructed by the placement of the safety barriers, that sort of thing.
Right. Did we vote on the?
So you have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions for Chris? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Seeing none. Resolution carries.
Thank you.
The next item is 8.1, 8.2, City Council salary and expense reimbursement. I believe this was agendized.
I can introduce this briefly. So By way of background, this is a city council initiated item, not a staff initiated item. It was carried on a 4-1 vote at your meeting in December to direct staff to draft an ordinance, which is now before you today. That ordinance would increase the salary that each member of the city council is eligible to receive, beginning with the salaries paid for January of 2027. As the city council didn't provide direction on an amount at the last meeting, we've left that blank. And so when I get to the recommended action, if you want to proceed with this, there's a way to make a motion to fill in that blank. The chapter in the municipal code that deals with city council salary, there's 2 parts to it. One is salary, the other is expense reimbursement. We've taken the liberty of including in this ordinance amendments to that second part pertaining to expense reimbursement, just to bring it up to compliance with state law. It doesn't practically change anything that we're already doing, but as you know, as we've been going through the municipal code, we've been trying to modernize it and make it clearer for all parties. And so we've done that as well. I just wanted to flag that for you. There is a red line version of it in your agenda packet that includes those changes. And then just with respect to salary, the current salary for council members since 1999 is $300 a month. A couple of things to be mindful of in your discussion today. State law allows you to establish a salary anywhere between $0 and $950 a month. To go above $950 a month, it requires voter approval. State law also prohibits the city council from adopting ordinances that provide for automatic future updates. So you couldn't, for instance, adopt an ordinance that says it's going to be X amount this year, Y amount the year after, Z amount the year after that. You also can't include like a CPI escalator or a percentage escalator. You're only able to act on a single salary increase at a time, but obviously the council retains the right in the future to modify the salary if it wishes. And then state law allows members of the council to waive any or all of their salary. So that's existing law right now. It pertains to your current salaries. It would continue to apply irrespective of whatever you decide to do today. So just to be clear, staff has no recommendation on this item. We've agendized it at your request, but if you do wish to proceed with it, what you would do is open the public hearing, receive public testimony, close that public hearing, and then the motion that you would need to make would be to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance read by title with further reading waived, titled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Laguna Woods, California, amending Chapter 2.02 of the Laguna Woods Municipal Code, increasing the salary that each member of the City Council is eligible to receive and the expenses incurred in the performance of official duties that each member of the City Council is eligible to be reimbursed for, and determining and certifying that the ordinance is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. To that, you would need to add as part of the motion with the salary amount set at, and then whatever the amount is per month, and add it in place of each instance of insert amount here in the proposed ordinance. As you went through the agenda materials, you likely saw that there were several highlighted sections of insert amount here. That is your own discretion. This motion would allow you to substitute a dollar value for that. And then the last thing I'll say, just also state law requires that changes in salary not take effect until after the next election, which is why this is agendized and the ordinance is written as taking effect with the salaries paid for the month of January 2027. Salary is also a term used in state law, but I want to just be clear that it runs through payroll, but you're not like full-time or part-time staff in the conventional sense. You're elected officials who receive a quote-unquote salary as defined by applicable state law. So with that, it's really a policy discussion for the council, but Alicia and I are here if you have any specific questions for us. If not, I would turn it over to the mayor. There is a public hearing required, so if you wanted to have the public hearing now, or if you wanted to have some council discussion first and then open the public hearing, that's up to your discretion.
Chris, since I couldn't listen as fast as you were talking, I think I'll go to open it up to public hearings first so that I can catch up with what you said. Sure. So public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? If so, please up to the podium. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. now we can have council discussion. Is that how it goes? Yes. So, Councilmember Horn, you agendized this, so what say you?
Well, like I said last time, the amount of $300, almost 27 years ago, the purchasing power is should be $586 to equal what $300 was. And in all that time, it's never been raised, yet inflation has happened, our assessments have tripled, our electric bills have quadrupled, food has gone up, and I know I could use more money every month, and I don't think it's, eating every day is a benefit to everybody when your brain is working. So I would say the $600 that would even what it was before and a $50 raise. So I would start out with $650, and I'll certainly be interested to hear what the rest of the council has to say. You know, philosophically, I would love to stand on my principles and do this for free, but you can't go to the supermarket with that. You can't pay your assessments with your principles. So unfortunately, we need money to live, and I work, so I think it's appropriate that we raise it. Thank you.
Any other council?
I'll go ahead. I support increasing our council compensation. I think $500 is a good round amount, a good compromise. I think there's no argument that compensation should be reviewed after 25 years. But I also think, most importantly, not just need, I think we deserve it. We work hard and we do good work for the city and for our residents. This is a really, really well-run city. We consistently have balanced budgets. We consistently have clean audits. We consistently have financial reports that exceed basic requirements for clarity and disclosure. We consistently receive recognition for the detail and accuracy and clarity on our financial reporting. We have no debt. We have no unfunded pension liability. We are pre-funding a trust for our retiree benefits. Our employees are happy. They stay with us for a long time. We get the benefit of their experience and institutional memory. A recent article in the Orange County Register pointed out our efficiency, showed that this city had one of the lowest ratios of employees to residents of any city in Orange County. Yet, we are really that efficient, but our customer service is as good as anyone's. It's exemplary, and people who come into City Hall are greeted with a smile, and when they leave satisfied. Our streets and sidewalks are among the best maintained in Orange County. You can tell when you drive out of our city and into Irvine because the road gets filled with cracks and bumps and potholes, and you can tell they're not as well maintained as ours. We've built a new library, and now we're building a new fire station, and both of these things are improving the safety and the quality of life of our population. Our taxi program has more than 6,000 people enrolled. That's nearly a third of our population. Those folks get to, when they have to stop driving, they get to continue to do all the things they wanted to do when they were driving. And just as importantly, it allows for people who ought to stop driving to actually stop driving, and that makes all of us safer. I think we deserve a raise, and I think the city can afford it, so I support this motion at the rate of $500.
I also support the raise of council salary, and I want it to be a conservative way because it was set over 25 years ago, and it's time for us to revisit and make it a little bit more reality to the amount that we receive. I feel comfortable, like Councilmember O'Connor's, a $500 monthly raise would be, I feel comfortable asking that. And also for the, and many times I was told that, you know, you compare your work to the directors, that the directors at the village doesn't get anything, and that is true. But we're talking about apple and oranges. We have different duties. We have to we involved with representing the city in many occasions, and it does take expense, and I think that it's reasonable for us to bring our salary to that level, $500 a month. Thank you.
I guess I'm the one person that disagrees. I feel that we live in a very low-income area, actually, and in fact, I would really like to see us spend some money on helping people with their driving, because there is a driving crisis. We had two cases for sure at Clubhouse 2 where people went down an embankment. We also had some at 1. Then we had the one that I mentioned where the car was on the landscaping in front of the St. Nicholas Church. So that will cost money, but I think it'll be worth the investment because people do want to drive. We don't know if they're ready to quit or not, but I think that it's time for them to have some opportunities to strengthen their driving if they can, and perhaps they can, because giving up your car is a very serious thing. I think that most of us, how much money we make or don't make has nothing to do with our running for the council, because if you want a job, you're not going to make this much money on the council, for sure. If you need a job, there are jobs out there. In fact, I think our receptionist job even, or the jobs with the gate. So if we need a salary, this is a totally different thing. This isn't a job. The purpose of the stipend in the very beginning was always to cover expenses. And we know that we don't get just this money anyway. In some instances, people are already at $500 because they get money from SCAG or they get money from, I think OCFA pays, and I think each one of their meetings is $100. So that is extra money. It's not just $300 to make sure we understand where the money comes from. So I'm not in favor of this because I feel that our community really is challenged. People are challenged on we know this, on paying their bills, and if we need a job, then that's our duty to take care of it. We didn't do this for a salary, so I find that not a good argument, but I understand what the statements are, so I guess I'm opposing. Thank you.
Thank you. And I certainly support the recommendation and the resolution. To Council Moore's point, I didn't run for the city for the salary, but I am on the council, and I do appreciate the stipend because, it does help some. However, some of the events that I go to, some of the stuff that I do requires, additional gas, additional time. And so I think it's only fitting that we appreciate what the council is doing, and even at $500, we're not rolling to the bank with money. It's an additional couple of $100 a month for what we do, and I actually feel deserving of some additional compensation. I believe that my contribution is worthy of an increase in salary. So
So if there's a motion, it would be to approve the introduction and first reading of the ordinance as previously read, with the salary amount set at, I think I heard consensus amongst a majority for $500. So with the salary amount set at $500 per month and added in place of each instance of insert amount here in the proposed ordinance.
I'll move that.
It's been motion and second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? One opposed. So recommendation accepted.
Right.
So
Item 9.
okay. So item 9, you got to hit it.
Yeah, I can just say a few words. So you do this every year. SCAG, the Southern California Association of Governments, hosts a General Assembly meeting in the desert, in Palm Desert this year. The SCAG asks for the cities that attend to appoint a member to serve as a delegate, and then if there's an additional member attending, to designate them as an alternate. And so I believe, and council can correct me if I'm wrong, but Councilmember Moore, I assume you're attending the SCAG conference? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't believe anybody else is attending. So an appropriate motion, if the council desires, would be to appoint Councilmember Moore to serve as a delegate at the Southern California Association of Governments. 2026 General Assembly on May 7th, 2026 in Palm Desert, California. Before you entertain anything, there is an opportunity for public comments on this item if anybody wishes to speak.
Public comments on this item is now open. Hearing no public comments. Public comments are closed.
And I should say that's an appropriate motion, assuming Councilmember Moore is okay with being the delegate, but I don't want to.
And by the way, SCAG pays for all of that, so we don't pay for it.
Yeah, this is, SCAG pays for, I think, the hotel and the parking and things, so.
Okay. Okay, moved in second.
I second.
I think you
Okay.
had, did Councilmember Morris, or I'm sorry, Horn second?
Second,
Yeah,
okay.
you have a second down there.
Yeah. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, then the motion recommendation carries, so.
It's unanimous, thank you.
Councilmember Moore. The next item, we're down to 9.2, which is city council term limits, and this was agendized by Mayor Pro Tem Lee.
Well, I want to talk about this term limits, going right back to my own personal experience. I ran for the council in 2024. There were 3 seats were available with the 3 incumbents that are up for re-election. If all 3 of them chose to go for re-election, I'm not sure I'll be here. I'm here today, but one of the candidates, the incumbents, chose not to seek for re-election, so that created the one opening, 1 seat, and myself and another gentleman who campaigned after that 1 seat. And fortunately, I won the election, and I'm here today. Last 14 months has been wonderful. I had a wonderful experience, and I'm enjoying very much. Last 14 months, I ran into at least 2 people that were interested and very capable of serving the city, and they both said that running against the incumbent is very difficult in this city. And there are 34 cities in Orange County. 25 cities have some type of council term limits, and by lowering the barriers to entry for new candidates, term limits promotes healthy competition and accountability. So I would like to, for us to suggest, to consider to setting up a term limits for our city, a maximum of 2 terms totaling 8 years. Do I have any public comments?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is, so your recommendation is for term limits of 2 terms?
2 terms totaling 8 years of service.
Okay, so I can open this up to public comments? Are there any members of the public that want to, do we have, okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Allison Bach. I've lived in Laguna Woods for 4 years now. And when I first moved here, it was at the very end of COVID, and nothing was open. Clubhouses were closed, clubs were not active, and so out of sheer boredom, I became involved in board work, and I've sort of never looked back. I served in United Mutual, where I lived. I was an officer there and president of United. Then I moved over to GRF, where I was also president of GRF last year. Now I live in the Towers. I'm on the board of the foundation. Was invited to join the foundation as the board member, Foundation of Laguna Woods. So anyway, I guess I am a board junkie, so to speak, and I'm very pleased to be here and to support the idea of term limits, because I can see from my personal experience here and in other communities where I've lived, the value of having new people come into a community and to work on the boards and to make a contribution, maybe from experiences that they have had in other states other kinds of governmental agencies, and so on. This is very valuable to have an influx, and it's no reflection on anyone sitting on the board here or in the recent past that I support term limits. It's strictly from the standpoint of the fact that this is an extremely popular concept among voters. I did some research on this, and I'd be glad to give you my sources if you want them. But a lot of statistics have shown, in studies done by pollsters, that a good 70 to 80% of voters, all voters, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, support term limits. And even the UC Berkeley study recently done showed that there was a good 75% support. Again, across policy and political lines for term limits in their communities. Term limits make representations, more representatives more responsive, I think, to their constituents. They make variety more possible. They bring in an influx of new experiences, different experiences from different places. And to have no term limits shuts out participation by newer, younger voices. By younger, I mean less experienced in the community, certainly not age. So I think to broaden the expertise in government in the city, term limits would promote participation. It will promote diversity of thought and experience, fairness to access, and I would urge the council to pursue this issue and bring it to the voters. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mickey, and I cannot pronounce your name. I know you told me. So, Mickey Nozaki.
Hi, Mickey Nozaki. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak today and support term limits as well. But first, I want to make it clear that my statement is not an indictment or a personal criticism of any one of the council's sitting members. You are all serious and devoted and much appreciated by Laguna Woods and its residents. And I think Cynthia said it very well with all the accomplishments and the way you keep the city running. My belief about executing term limits is based on prudent thought and a careful evaluation of the pros and cons. Personally, in my participation in village clubs, I've observed a lack in succession planning just across the board. Admittedly, because in many instances, no one wants to step forward. So I do acknowledge your willingness to serve. Clearly, tenure, experience, and continuity are important. However, limiting terms helps open up a playing field, a level playing field, and hopefully encourages more residents to come forward, to take a more active role with enthusiasm and a fresh perspective. In that way, good governance is truly a shared responsibility. I think civic participation is essential and provides an opportunity for the affected residents, those with the most to gain, to have a full-throated voice. So I appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Torres.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and City Council and staff. My name is Steve Torres. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm here to express my strong support for reasonable term limits for City Council members. First, this is not a criticism of any of you here. I'm a fairly new resident of Laguna Woods, and I appreciate what you do. Many of you have dedicated significant time and effort in this community, and your service, deserves respect. My support for term limits is about strengthening our democratic system, increasing public trust, ensuring that our local government continues to reflect the evolving needs of the people that it serves. And I believe that term limits encourage fresh perspectives. Our city is constantly changing. We have new residents, new challenges, and new opportunities. And I think that regular leadership turnover helps bring new ideas, energy, and innovation to city governments. Term limits improve accountability, as some of you have already mentioned. When officials know that their time is limited, I think the focus shifts on results and impact, not on political longevity. This helps keep decision-making grounded in what's best for the community. And I think that term limits helps create more of a level playing field for residents who want to serve, including younger leaders and people from more diverse backgrounds. Public office should be service, not a career. And I respectfully urge the council to seriously consider term limits as a way to strengthen transparency, accountability, and public trust. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Yes, please.
Good afternoon again. I'm Nancy Carlson. I've been a resident of Laguna Woods Village for 14 years, and I would reiterate precisely what my predecessors just described to you as the reasons for term limits. I've served as a director on boards and in the Laguna Woods Village itself as well, and is on committees. And it's right now, the Good Government Club, it's probably the #1 issue among residents coming forward. They want to see term limits in the village. And
It's in the village.
Pardon?
It's already in the village.
But what they see is carousel directors moving around and manipulating the terms so that they can continue to serve longer periods. So while that is separate from here, it is something that does play out. And what it has done, as I've seen in the last year, it has blocked new people from coming forward. And also, when you have long-term directors that go on years and years and years, the new people who come on to serve are intimidated because they view that they don't have the same history and knowledge. My response to them is that term limits are a good thing, and that the directors that are experienced can continue to serve in a capacity as advisors and consultants, which is very important in making recommendations to council, making recommendations to a board, and tutoring and educating and developing prospective directors. So I won't reiterate what they said because it's 100%, I'm in 100% agreement on it. And I do think Councilwoman Lee's recommendation of a 2-year term of 4 years each is the right prescription. And that's pretty common for smaller cities in the state. And 80% right now is, I think, the running toll of what the residents of the state feel in terms of proactive, we need to have term limits. So again, those are my comments. I don't want to reiterate what was always been presented to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Please.
I'm Catherine Freshley with Living in the Village. I think term limits, I understand, and we've had them on the boards. But I think there's another element here in the county that's very different. We're a small city. And to participate in what's going on in the county and have any influence at all with the other agencies of which you are a party to representing, oftentimes requires a little bit longer term to even be recognized to allow you to operate in a leadership position. Unlike the Transportation Authority, the Orange County Transportation Authority, you've got so these are outside, and most people in the village don't have that understanding. And I think that it's these commissions and the outside opportunities where you can bring influence, But it takes time for somebody from a small city to compete against people in Anaheim and Fullerton and all the other cities, which are much larger, to get the people to understand that we're coming from a community that has a lot of experience, but is relatively unknown outside the city. And I think that's an important thing to think about. And particularly then if you go with term limits, then make sure the terms are long enough to allow our city council people the opportunity to adequately represent this community in the county. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Madam Mayor, we did receive one public comment from Mr. Walter Valencia. He provided a handout. He couldn't stay for the remainder of the meeting.
So this is from Walter Valencia, and I'll read it. I support term limits because they lead to greater community participation. When a person is in government or office for a long period of time, it creates disadvantages and challenges for the city because it becomes routine. We need greater participation from residents with fresh ideas, energy, and new perspective for the city. Term limits helps to open that door and keeps local democracy alive. And I believe this is the end of public comments, so public comments are closed, and now we'll have some council comments. And we'll start with Council, I almost said mayor, but Council Member Horn.
Okay, I can see both sides of the issue on term limits. When I first got on council, that was one of my issues. I was gonna bring on term limits, and then Bert Hack was on the water board, and he had gotten to a certain level. And I learned, like to what Catherine said, about having to be in a place for a long time before you rise through the ranks. So, but I also see, the advantage to turning over. Here we kind of have a natural turnover because people get to a certain age and they term themselves out. I hate to say it that way, but that's what happens. But, and there have been plenty of times when no one has run, and I don't think it's really overwhelming to run against an incumbent, but I would support term limits, even though I see both sides, the being on a board for a long time and the value that experience brings to it and to the whole council. But it seems like there's, a desire now to have term limits in there. And so I can see both sides, but I would support Pearl's motion.
Any other council?
First, I want to thank all of you who stayed through to the bitter end to give us the benefit of your advice. And second, I'll just say I hate to set myself up in opposition to the near unanimous public sentiment, but I don't think this is a good idea, and I don't think it's necessary. It's not a good idea because, as Catherine and Sherry said, longevity is a good thing in an elected city council. Running this city is not easy. There are a lot of moving parts. Our two newest council members, Pearl Lee and Annie McCary, can attest to the fact that it takes a number of years to get yourself up to speed and to learn all the things a council member needs to know about. And I'm sure they'll tell you that they still have a lot to learn. After 8 years, we're still learning. You don't want to take people who are finally getting educated and competent in this work and trade them out for a new person who doesn't have that knowledge or experience. And interestingly, you wouldn't run a business this way. If you had an employee who had learned the ropes and had become competent and experienced in their job, you wouldn't tell them, okay, you've reached your 8-year limit, you're out of here and I'm going to bring a new guy in. That's not it. At any rate, that's one of the reasons I think we need institutional knowledge and memory. And as Catherine said, longevity is a good thing because it allows us to build relationships and develop common interests with other organizations and other elected leaders and staff within the county. All of us serve on boards and attend meetings with other elected officials and staff from other government organizations, and we build relationships. We build respect for this city, but those relationships are very useful for us when we want to work together on issues that affect our region or things that we have in common. When we were considering the possibility of legalizing marijuana sale in our city, it was Sherry's connections with other agencies that allowed us to interview police chiefs from a couple of cities that had legal cannabis stores there, because we were concerned about lawless behavior in the region of a cannabis store, and we were concerned about skyrocketing public safety costs. And in talking to people who became available to us because someone had the time to build relationships, we were able to put those fears to rest and make our decision based on facts and not based on supposition and worry. Carol is one of the hardest networking people I know. She attends meetings of county and regional organizations, and sometimes I'm at the same meeting, and I might sit down with people I know, but Carol is always up there. She's going from table to table, and she's having conversations with all of these people, and I bet she knows more elected people and staff in this county than most anybody else. And these people become our allies and allow us to work together on common issues. But it takes time to build those relationships. It takes time to earn the respect so that people see that I am a reasonable and rational and intelligent person, and they're willing to work with me. So I think you wouldn't want to throw that away just to put a new person on a council seat. And I also think that term limits are not necessary because there are availabilities for people. There are availabilities for people to come onto this council. Our council is comprised of old people, okay? We're from this community. Nobody realistically gets on this council till they're 60 or 70 years old. When they get too old, they leave the council and their seats become vacant. And that's what happened with all the people who were on the council when I came on. Bert Hack, Bob Ring, Bob Bauer. When the organizing city council thought about this, their shorthand for this was, God sets our term limits. So Noel Hatch resigned as he approached age 90, leaving a vacant seat, and Pearl took that seat. But one election before that, Annie ran against an incumbent, and she won. And I think in this city, running for election is not that complicated. It's not difficult to get your face and your name and your personality known widely in the village through participation in village governance and lots of local groups, and it's not expensive to run. Down in Lake Forest, people spend $75,000 to run for the city council, but I've never spent more than $2,000 on a campaign, partly because it's my own money, and partly because if you get much above that, you have to have a special campaign account, and you got to get a campaign treasurer, and you got to report everything to the Fair Political Practices Commission, and I'm just not willing to do all that. So our council members start out old, and they get older, and they leave, and things open up. And I came on to the council because the council member prior to me had passed away. So this happens. I do have a couple more items here. There we go. And I think we don't need term limits because every 4 years, the voters have the opportunity to throw us out if they don't think we're doing a good job. Or if they think they would, if someone else shows up and says, I'm a fresh face, I have new ideas, I'd like to see our city do this, 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 and this. And if the voters like that, they can go for the fresh face and not vote for the incumbent. So I don't think we should throw away the wisdom and experience and personal networks. There's lots of chances for voters to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and there are regular chances for new people to come onto the council through attrition or by defeating incumbents. And we've gotten a new member in each of the last 2 elections, and I think that demonstrates that. So thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. I guess I do appreciate and I do understand the idea of term limits, and I thought it made sense on the boards. However, I guess I like the people that have experience. I'm now talking about the boards because I've seen people get on, they want to do some cockamamie thing. You think they don't even understand the trust agreement. They have absolutely no background. You think, but they get on, and I'm listening to them, and I think, wow, I'm sure glad there are 11 people on there because that has been talked about to reduce the number. No, I think the 11 keeps us safe. Better off with the high number. When you get to the council, it's rather different. And that's, I would go along with whatever anybody wanted on it, but I do see the offices for the council are, I'm not sure what you think we do. I'm not sure if you think this is our job because this isn't our, we don't run the city, he does. If the streets are well taken care of, he took care of that. We approve, but we don't run the city. Our city manager does that. So then you would have to say, well, what do you do? Because we wind up going to members of SCAG. I don't know how many of you know what SCAG is. It's the Southern California Association of Governments. It wasn't easy to be on there. And Catherine mentioned it, getting onto these policy committees. Those are committees that bring money to our city. The money the transportation money, we want to be involved in that. We want to have our voice. And so it takes a long time to get into that. For example, also being on LAFCO, I doubt if many of you understand what LAFCO is. LAFCO happens to be another organization. It takes a while because, once again, we're a very small city. We would probably have no influence at all, except we're around. We stayed longer. So we're still at the party because these things are political, not for us because I don't run as a party member, and I don't think anybody else did. I'm not even a Republican or a Democrat anyway, so it didn't matter. But it does when you get to those groups, and they have their little groups divided. And so to get something from each one of those, we have to stick around for a while. We're just a very small city, small potatoes, but we're here long enough that we actually understand because we've been here long enough. So that does have its value. If we were going to do it, I would have said 3 terms because 3 terms isn't really a long time, particularly anyway. So if you're really bent on this, I go along with whatever you say, but I think 3 terms easily gives you an opportunity to do it. But I do see as you have mentioned, I see the danger in it because I saw it having served on the board and having to remove people who went out and borrowed millions of dollars because they didn't understand their role and legally probably could have sued them for investing in things they weren't allowed to invest in. I see what happens when people think they know something they don't know and they have no idea on it and they start wanting to take action. So in this instance, getting to these positions that I'm talking about SCAG, I'm talking about LAFCO and these other positions that are important, I think it's helpful for our city to play a part and not be just a little city that has no role in anything, because we do play a part. And I think over the time, our discussion with Bert and his action in the Water Committee, I think it takes a long time to acquire all that. So, those are the give and takes, I guess, of this situation. So if you're bent on insist, I would say 3 would be a minimum because, or none, whichever.
I want to say something.
As long as it's not argumentative. I don't want you to argue with her.
Oh, okay. Well,
Please don't argue with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't take place, Chris, even if we were to put it on a ballot. Actually, what's it cost us to put it on the ballot?
Okay,
So this
hang
is
on.
another
Before you do that, she has the floor.
Okay.
Pearl has the floor. I just want to keep this going.
You want to say? Okay. Well, all I wanted to add is that the village is changing, our community is changing, and we have a younger people. Our average age is going to get younger, And of course, learning, you can learn for the rest of your life. I cannot stay in council's position because I need more to learn. You know, the things that we can learn in 12 years, maybe we can learn in 8 years. You know, for me, we don't enter this council election till we are late 60s or early 70s. That's about, so we are already right up there. And if we're talking about 8 years, 12 years, then I feel like maybe we ought to give a chance to our younger seniors to enter while they're at their prime and function more effectively. And of course, these contexts are important. But if we have limited terms, maybe we can speed up a little bit. And I think it's to our advantage for us the council to be active and learn fast if we can, and try our very best. Like for me, 8 years of service, I think I'll be tired. And I would like to give my best 8 years to the city. And some people might think 12 years is more appropriate. It's a personal, you know, everybody has a different opinion. But I do think that having a term limit is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just add mine because Councilwoman Lee, you made a good point about term limits. There's nothing to prevent us from limiting our own terms of service. So if you only want to serve 2 terms, then that automatically creates an opportunity for someone else to run. And I think there's a lot to be said about experience, and I can use my own experience. When I got on the committees, I did not have any idea what I was doing on these committees, and I sit there and I listen like a deer in the headlight. So here I am in the end of my first term, just beginning to really grasp and begin to speak. So I think any of us on the council who wants to limit our terms to 2 or to 1, I think what that does, it creates an opportunity for someone else to come along. I think we can term limit ourselves, but if I were to support a measure, it would be for at least 3 terms. And that gives me the opportunity, if I'm done serving, then after 2 terms, then I can not run, and that creates another opportunity. So I see both sides, but I also see the value in institutional knowledge and being able to navigate. I'm going to Sacramento next week for the 2nd year. Last year I went and I sit there and I had all of this information and it just went over I read it and I read it. So when I go back this time, I have a comfortable bearing. So, and like I said, I see both sides, but I think, any council member who only wants to serve 2 terms, that creates an opportunity. And so I think those of us who have the wherewithal, who have the energy, because I think that's another part of it, to continue to serve, I just don't see limiting that. And if so, at least give us, if the voters are going to do this, because the voters vote us in anyway. Any of us can run, and you can run against an incumbent, and there's nothing to say that you can't beat the incumbent. I beat an incumbent, and because I love the city, and I got out there, and I campaigned, and I talked to people. So the newcomers, and there's something to be said about newcomers, but I do believe that the newcomers need to make themselves known. I believe the newcomers need to do what I did and then beat the incumbents. And so I think I see both sides, and if this were, and I think the voters are going to be the ultimate ones to decide. And so if I were to agree to have this as a ballot of initiative, it certainly would be for at least 3 terms.
What does it cost to have the election?
So I was just looking up previous election costs. The county blends their invoicing, so it's hard for me to tell you. If this were on a ballot, it would be consolidated with the general municipal election. So you're already paying for an election. There were unique costs itemized in 2020 for Measure V of roughly $1,000. But again, there's additional cost. It's just blended in, and I can't
Okay.
pull it out separate.
Okay.
So there is certainly a cost, but it's not.
If you put it on the ballot, it actually wouldn't be effective even until when?
So the way term limits work is they're prospective. So it doesn't, none of your current terms for service count against you. So it would start with it wouldn't be the people who got elected this election, but it'd be the next time.
It really loses effectiveness because none of us are affected. The problem that I have with it, I think Sherry brought it up, is we've had many periods where nobody wanted to run. And I kind of worry about that one because I know you feel that a lot of young people, but they're not stepping forward to be on the boards, Pearl. And so if they're not stepping forward to be on the board, how can we expect them to step forward to be on the council? Somebody telling you they think they would like to run is different from somebody
Well, then
actually
that might have changed a bit too. So I think what happened 25 years ago is not necessarily how it is now. And I have some very serious people that are considering. I've met too, yeah. So, you know, that shouldn't be, I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, see, the problem is
Yeah.
the people that you have, what I'm trying to point out is
Yes.
it won't affect anyone
I
here.
understand. Yeah, I understand.
They'll still be running.
Yes.
So I think that the danger is greater to me that we will have nobody to run, which you have 4 now, that's this year. I know the boards are begging, and I've seen United having meetings, trying to get people to run. They don't step forward. When they start seeing the amount of work, they don't want to do it.
I understand.
So I'm concerned that we could put ourselves in a dangerous position, but just because 3 people want to run now, let them try it out,
Yeah.
see how it works
Yeah.
for them. I would say. But,
Yeah, I would very much be interested to have some type of term limits be on our ballot to see how voters feel too. That will give us a good guideline. And you know, if everybody feels that we don't need it, then we don't need it. But I would really like for us to get it to that point to see.
I think too, you know, we don't have a lot of people coming and attending our meetings to see what we do. And if nobody does
Turn your
run,
mic on.
which
Is your mic on?
Oh, it is on.
Oh, I couldn't.
So I think the worst thing would be if nobody runs and we'd have to appoint.
Yeah,
And that's really anti-democratic, you know, because when I first ran, I lost to a 91-year-old. And then he stepped down 2 years later, and there were like 10 of us, 8 or 10 of us that were applying, and I got appointed that way. Then I got elected other years, but it's not always that we have people. I mean, today we had a lot of people in the council chambers, but to me, if somebody's interested in what we do, they would come
to
council meetings. And it was wonderful that they were here today, but so there's a lot of things to think about when you put it, because we are an older community, so you know, I just would not want to be in the position of having to appoint people.
And my final comment is every 4 years we have an election. And if the community does not like us and if the community doesn't like our service, it doesn't matter if we've served one term or not. If we run and someone else runs against us and the community wants that person, whether I've served one term or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the community is very empowered already. And the 3 that got elected 2 years ago, they got voted, you know, unanimously. I mean, and when I ran, there was someone else running, but only one person, and that was an incumbent. So there has not been an influx of people running for city council, and certainly there are times when we have council meetings, and by the time we end, there's nobody here but us. So that doesn't say to me that there's a big influx of people interested in council. So, there's something, I see both sides, but I really do think we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we just assumed that we limit the term limits, that there's going to be an influx of people that want to serve. Because, it is a time commitment. It really is a time commitment. So
just process-wise, I think in deference to the Mayor Pro Tem who agendized this, if you wanted to make a motion, you could certainly do that. There's what would you like to do at this point, I guess?
I have a question. Can I make a motion to have term limit with not specified terms? Or do I have to have a specified terms?
I think in order for us to,
because what I hear from the council members, they're open to it, but they feel perhaps 2 terms are too short, or.
Well, so there's, I guess, 2 motions you could make. You could make the motion that's listed on the agenda, which is just to direct us to draft an ordinance that would establish term limits if approved by voters.
Yes.
We could bring it back to you like we did with the salary ordinance with a blank, and you could attempt to fill in the blank. Or you could make a motion if you wanted to do, if you wanted to direct us to bring back an ordinance that had 2 terms or 3 terms, you could do that now. So I guess you don't technically need to specify it. It would be helpful in drafting if you specified it.
Yes.
But we could theoretically bring you back something that had a placeholder in it.
Yes, well, I would like to make a motion to direct staff to draft the ordinance for the term limits.
Okay, so just a general one with a placeholder.
Yes.
Okay, so then your motion would be what's written on the agenda then, to direct staff to draft an ordinance for future consideration by the city council that would, if placed on a future ballot by the city council and subsequently approved by registered voters, enact term limits for members of the city council.
Yes.
And that would be with the understanding we would bring it back to you with a placeholder and you could
More
have this
discussion.
discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be my motion.
Okay,
So there's a motion. Do I hear a second?
No, that takes care of it.
Absent a second, it dies.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
She's asking me. I tell you why, Pearl, I'll tell you what, I see your point. The problem that I have with it is I know you know somebody right now. We have seen so many periods, and I'm seeing it on the boards. If the boards aren't getting people, you're seeing somebody now, that's an exception. When I see United is begging for people, and I say, please, they're saying, please turn out, they're not being filled. And we know today is so unusual. We rarely have someone sitting in those seats. They don't come. And if they don't come, then they don't have a lot of interest. They have other interests. And so my concern is your answer to the problem solves the problem for your 3 friends right now, but there's a problem out there ahead that you have people working, nobody comes, and they have to get off because and there we are. And I'm more inclined to think that it doesn't cost a lot to run. It doesn't cost me as much to run for council as it did for the board. I had to pass out flyers, I had to do all kinds of stuff, which I ran myself, but I do the same thing for this. This is not like 25,000, it's not even 2. You don't even have to put an ad in the paper if you don't want to.
Okay, so I think we're done with this
agenda. I see it as a remedy, but I feel it causes another possible problem. And does anybody see the solution to that? You have nobody running, and then suddenly, there you are. Everybody, the opening is there. Then the council. What would happen if nobody ran? They could appoint somebody, I don't think that's a good thing.
So that's what Councilmember Horn was talking about. If you had an election and there was an incumbent termed out and nobody ran, then the remaining council members would appoint
that's not
somebody to fill
a good
the spot.
idea. Not that
I mean, I will say you could theoretically call a special election at that point. That's never been the practice.
But a special election would be $50,000.
And further delayed.
That'd be ridiculous.
Okay, so I think we can move on from this one. The next item
See if we can find a remedy to that problem.
Okay.
I see your point.
Let's move on. So now we come to city council reports and comments. This is a time and place for members of the city council to provide reports on meetings attended, including but not limited to meetings of regional boards
Yeah.
and entities to which they have been appointed to represent the city of Laguna Woods, and meetings attended at the expense of the city of Laguna Woods pursuant to California Government Code, Section 53232.3. Members of the city council may also make other comments and announcements. So the first report is the Coastal Greenbelt Authority, and that is the committee that I'm on, and I wanted to share a little bit about the I have to read this, the National Regional Orange County website, the NRC, and a few talking points. The Nature Reserve of Orange County recently launched a website which connects Laguna Woods residents with 38,000 acres of protected wildland, which seems like right in our own backyard. These land include the nearby preserves at Crystal Cove State Park and Laguna Coast Wilderness Park. And you can see the website number there. Some of the features about the new website: it's easy, intuitive navigation for quick access to parks information, trails, and maps. And I actually went to the website, and it is very, very informative. It got lots of great pictures. It's an engaging overview of the conservation efforts focused on in the long-term protection and recovery of multiple plants and animal species. The website also links volunteer organization and events to connect Laguna Woods residents with meaningful volunteer opportunities in nature. First-time visitor guide to help individual customize an experience in nature which is safe and physically compatible. It also assesses a docent-led trip and activities which are senior-friendly, and a simplified story of land conservation guidelines and efforts to sustain the unique natural landscape surrounding Laguna Woods. Most residents consider these open space vital to the quality of life, yet few are aware of why they exist and their environmental and economic importance. The dynamic new site aims to change while supporting park rangers, docents, and other sites based on staff who are tasked with information, education, and caring for the safety of our daily use. And again, this is the website address is there, and it's a really, really informative guided tour. So Laguna Woods residents are certainly encouraged to attend that website, go to the website. Also, the authority elected officers for the upcoming year, and the same officers, Mary Frugas as the chair, and I volunteered to continue on as the vice chair. The committee meets every other month, and our next meeting will be the second Wednesday in March. And so the next report is the Orange County Fire Authority. Councilmember Horn.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Quick Reaction Force. Many of you may have heard about it. It was like 3 water-dropping helicopters, 1 helicopter that drops retardant, and a big place where the helicopters would go and pick up more retardant. We were in an agreement with 3 counties, LA County, Ventura County, and Orange County, and SCE had been subsidizing that to the tune of $18 million a year. They had said that eventually they would like each county to participate financially, and it was going to be possibly this year, but there was a lot of talk and misinformation that went out. So Chief Fennessy pulled it from the November agenda and was going to put it on a special meeting in December because it was such a critical program to all 3 counties, especially being 1 year after the fires. So we tried to get a special meeting together in December. I know it's difficult to get people together in December. We only needed 13 for a quorum, and we didn't get it. We were one short of a quorum, and so the agreement came and went as of January 1st. We still have, Los Angeles took the helicopters. They took the helicopters, the water dropping ones, and if we need them again, which I'm sure we will, we can request them. So, but there will be that lag time between when we request them and when we'll get them. I'm not going to go into all the ways that I feel about this, but I feel it was terrible that it died for lack of a quorum. It should have been a board decision, and it wasn't. So I just wanted to report on that. I don't believe any of us will be less safe. Our interim chief will probably be TJ. I met with him, we all met with him, and I'll report out next month if he's been elected as interim chief, and we know how long he'll serve. I mean, he's a great guy, and this is a situation that's just being put on him. So anyway, that's my report, and
Question on that. Here's a good example. There is no second, there's no alternate for yours. So if you don't show up, and if some of these new people may not understand that, is what happened that you think that the quorum wasn't established?
well, there was a lot of lobbying by one particular group that did not want this contract. They felt that they didn't feel that we should pay anything, and that it was a vanity project by Chief Fennessy. But I had already said I would be there. And when I make a commitment that I'll be somewhere, I'm either in jail or the hospital if I'm not there. I mean, there's a real reason, but I get what you say about alternates. But other people apparently didn't feel the same way, and they were swayed by the lobbying, and so they just they pulled their commitment and they didn't show up. So to have a program like that fail for lack of a quorum, and not a board where if you don't agree with it, say so in an open forum and state your reasons. It was very sad, very frustrating. Yes.
Sorry about that. See, the problem too that you're saying, where the helicopter is going to be, you can say, well, now we get them. We don't need to wait while they go up. Oh, well, I think we all understand that. They aren't where you need them, and that's a tragic.
Right.
Wow.
Well, we have a meeting again tomorrow, and I have no doubt it will come up. And so I'll report again next month.
Thank you. The Orange County Library Advisory Board.
During the board meeting, we had
I meant the library board.
Is it for me?
Oh, library.
She said library.
I'm sorry.
I think there's another example.
I was ready to go.
It took 8 years for us to resolve a situation with the Irvine set-aside, which was millions of dollars that was being set aside. There was this argument. I know that sounds like a long time, but I was on there 8 years, and it took 8 years to get that resolved. People would come and go, and some of us who'd been there, we kind of understood, but finally that was resolved, and Irvine has their own library now. They're outside of the whole thing, but the library board actually is tomorrow night. So I will leave it. I will have something for the next meeting for that meeting.
Now the mosquito vector.
Well, during the board meeting, we had an election of the new officers and the recognition of the people that had served and left the Orange Vector Committee. And we also received the presentations of activity. The one of the things that really stood out was that West Nile virus in Orange County 2025 was very insignificant. On the other hand, the flea-borne typhus activity 2025 was the highest since 2013.
Wow.
They said maybe it has to do with the warm weather and the moisture. And so they are planning to start hiring a seasonal worker earlier because of the warm winter. They think that we will see more activities.
Is that all in North County, higher density areas?
Yeah. And also we had approved the business contract for the roof repair. And let me see. And there will be, the next month meeting will be the 11th of February. They will have an open house, and they will have a committee meetings, and they'll have a regular meeting on Wednesday, which is not common. We normally have the third Thursday meetings, but and they also encourage everybody to sign up for the committee assignments, which we did, and we'll be attending the open house in February. Thank you.
Thank you. The San Joaquin Hill Transportation Corridor.
The only thing I have to report is regarding the flyover from the northbound 241 to the eastbound 90, which has gone out to bid. And if we are lucky, construction will start within the next 90 days, and you can drive on it in 3 years.
Oh, and your next when do you have your next meeting?
Watershed? Oh.
Oh.
Our next meeting?
Yeah. Do you have another meeting scheduled?
Our January meeting has been was canceled.
Okay. Now, okay, the South Orange County watershed.
We had a telephone conference. I imagine Chris is going to be meeting with them because the purpose of forming that group was to get grants, and so to make sure that the grants that come from the state, like the Prop 1, okay, those propositions, we would, as a public, we have voted for certain amounts of money to be used for water or whatever. And that money has not been used. The state is not funding and hasn't been funding for quite a while. So we have not met, and we're talking now whether we will meet in June, because we don't want to have a meeting and expend funds if we don't get paid at the meeting, but it costs this county, all those people have to come with those, and they have a salary. Of course, there's a cost. So we're not having a meeting. We're trying to figure out when these proposition funds will be coming up, because we don't have a meeting unless we're really dealing with something we can use the money on, something that we can put it to action. So there's where that is right now. And so we probably, as I said, we had the telephone conference. I tend to think, Chris, and I think, don't you meet with the people who do the funding for this? Because we pay a certain amount of money for that.
Yes,
You want to comment on that?
I imagine it'll come up. I think there's a meeting next week, potentially, or the week after. But yeah, I imagine it'll be a topic at the staff level. Obviously, cities are paying a recurring amount to staff it up.
It took a long time to form the group. To let it disband would be a loss, but we also don't want to be spending money until we are able to put it to a good use. So that's where that is.
Thank you. So then the liaison for the community bridge builders. I don't have a report either. Yeah, no, not really. No. Other comments and reports? Are there any other reports? So we don't have any closed session today. So this meeting is adjourned until we do have a meeting between Wednesday, February 18th. That is a closed session meeting. And what is the date on that one?
We're anticipating scheduling a special meeting of the council for early February, but right now, the next regular meeting is February 18th at 2 o'clock here at City Hall.
So with that, this meeting is adjourned.